Jay Nicole, thank you, and welcome to ESPN College Football, presented by ExxonMobil. Guns up, sun's out, and the muskets are out. It's a top 25 showdown in West Texas. Number 12, West Virginia, looks to remain unbeaten. Texas Tech seeking a fourth consecutive win. And good afternoon, 11 a.m. kick time here in Lubbock, and East Schroff alongside former Longhorn Ahmad Brooks. If you like offense, this is the game for you. Two of the top three passing offenses in the country. And it starts with quarterback play, and West Virginia's got its Heisman hopeful in Will Grier.
Yeah, what I love about him is this young man is clutch. And I think when you start to look at this offense, they're outstanding on third down and red zone. That proves to me that this kid is clutch. 62.5% on converting on their third down chances. And in the red zone, they're perfect on the year. 9 of their 12 chances have resulted in touchdowns. But please do not sleep on Texas Tech. The young freshman quarterback, Alan Bowman. We asked Cliff Kingsbury yesterday, does this kid have it? And he said, yes. He does it in a number of ways. You see him here leading the nation when it comes to passing yards, but it's the way he manages the game and the poise that he plays with that makes him special. This should be a fun one today.
The Red Raiders won the toss. They defer. West Virginia will receive. Texas Tech coming off that road win at Oklahoma State. Mountaineers a perfect 3-0. They beat Kansas State last week. Clayton Hatfield kicks it off, and West Virginia will take it out at the 25 as we say hello to Roddy Jones.
Well, guys, Dana Holgorsen and Cliff Kingsbury are two of the most prolific offensive minds in the entire country, and it's no surprise that the two share a close relationship that goes back to Kingsbury's playing days here at Texas Tech when Holgorsen was an assistant coach. They also coached together at the University of Houston, where they were actually roommates there at the time as well, so they got to know each other pretty well. Two other coaches that know each other well on opposite sidelines in this game. West Virginia's offensive coordinator, Jake Spavital's older brother, Zach Spavital, is the co-defensive coordinator for Texas Tech, so a lot of familiarity on these sidelines.
On first down, Will Grier to throw, and out of the hands of the Alabama transfer, T.J. Simmons. Second down, that's a ball that Simmons has to catch. Will Grier, a fifth-year senior, began his career at Florida. He's thrown for 300 or more yards in 12 of his 14 starts as a Mountaineer, completing almost 3/4 of his passes this season. On second down, Grier with time. And completes for a first down. It is Marcus Sims, who's coming off back-to-back 100-yard games.
That was a beautifully thrown ball on the outside edge, right off of that curl route. And Will Grier, you'll see that all day today. His accuracy, his placement, his ball placement is one of the best in the country.
Dana Holgorsen, a former wide receiver, said, you can be covered. Will Grier will still get you the ball where you can catch it. Third straight pass, plenty of time for Grier. And he finds Gary Jennings, who led the Big 12 in receptions a season ago. Yeah, Ahmad, your keys for West Virginia.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've seen it. 3 straight passes today. They've got to challenge the secondary regularly. They're the 3rd best passing team in the country. And Texas Tech's defense is poor at best. They rank 110th in the nation defending the pass. Put the ball in the hand of your Heisman hopeful Will Grier and let him carve this defense up.
Again, Grier to throw. And that one is broken up, intended for Jennings. Nice defensive play by Douglas Coleman.
Well, Anish, if Texas Tech is able to win the one-on-one matchups like they did right there, the defense has not been great this year. But if they can win those matchups down the field, then they're going to have a shot. So we're going to need to see more plays like we saw just there from this Texas Tech defense.
Mountaineers second nationally in third down conversion percentage. Only UCF is better. Grier back to the air. He's got Simmons, a big gain inside the 30, and TJ Simmons rumbles down to the 15-yard line. A big physical target who came over from Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, and that was the matchup they were looking for. And Will Greer has the presence and the state of mind to find the winning matchups for his team. That time, Dakota Allen, the middle linebacker, outmatched by the talented wide receiver.
And now at this part of the field, you have to identify 13 in white, David Sills, maybe the best red zone target in college football.
I think he is.
He's lined up at the bottom of your screen. And we get a whistle.
Illegal snap. Offense number 73. 5-yard penalty. First down.
So West Virginia will back up.
Yeah, that little hitch right there in his snap is what the officials call.
On the fly sweep, this is Tevin Bush. And Tevin Bush, the 5'6" sophomore from New Orleans, picks up 7. West Virginia this season has been in the red zone 12 times. They've scored 9 touchdowns, along with 3 field goals.
And Texas Tech defensively has decided that they're going to go one-on-one on the outside edges with the wide receivers, but they're playing soft coverage, giving up yardage in front of them and not behind.
Greer has Jennings, touchdown, West Virginia. The 5th touchdown for Jennings on the season, and the Mountaineers march right down the field, and they trusted the right arm of Will Greer all the way.
Yeah, I'm more impressed by that Karate Kid kick that he just showed. But watch, the physical contact here just doesn't faze him. And in talking to this staff, this kid has the strongest hands on the team. What does that mean? In traffic, he's still able to track that ball. He did not catch that with his shoulders, not his body, but his hands, his fingertips. Brilliant catch, brilliant ball from Greer, as the Mountaineers are up early in this ball game.
That's something West Virginia practices. They use the tennis ball drill with their wide receivers. The difference is they tell the receivers you can't catch the ball using the palm of your hands.
Sweet.
Only your fingers. Cliff Kingsbury and Dana Holgorsen, once roommates while they were both coaches at Houston. And both of them told us they were polar opposites, the odd couple. Kingsbury, an early riser, the neat Nick. Holgorsen said he was on the sloppy side when it came to keeping the apartment clean, and he liked to stay up late, but 2 of the best offensive minds in all of college football, Ahmad.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see that matchup, and they're so creative in the way that they score points and how they do it.
The Red Raiders will bring it out to the 25-yard line. We get the first look at this Texas Tech offense that's averaging more than 50 points a game, and they are led by the true freshman, 18-year-old Alan Bowman. Last week, he became the first Red Raider quarterback since his head coach, Cliff Kingsbury, to win in Stillwater. The last 2 weeks, more than 1,000 yards passing. And oh, by the way, it's believed that he opened the season as the number 3 quarterback. We asked Cliff Kingsbury, was he the 3rd guy coming into the season? And he said, I don't want to answer that.
Smart man.
McLean Carter was the starter, but he got hurt in week 1 in the loss to Ole Miss. And Bowman on first down fires one far side, and that's caught by Daquan Bowman, no relation. 5th-year senior from Millville, New Jersey, a gain of 3. Both these teams like to run their offense at warp speed. On the ground, and that is DeMarcus Felton, no gain. Felton, the senior from Houston, coming off the best game of his career, 130 yards, a career high against Oklahoma State.
And the one thing that stands out when you watch this West Virginia defense is their speed. You look at them and the numbers don't lead you to believe that They're the most physical in terms of their size, but they're fast, they're physical, they're ferocious. You'll see those running lanes close extremely fast today while watching this defense.
Let's see if they unleash the blitz here on 3rd and 7. They'll drop 8. This one is complete. And that's Jadian High, 6th-year senior. And that moves the chains for the Red Raiders, a gain of 14.
And there you have it. That's the poise of Bowman right there. The quick out, beautifully thrown pass, about a yard outside in front of the numbers, which is exactly where you want that ball to be.
2-by-2 formation. Felton tackled in the backfield by Kenny Bigelow, the transfer from USC. 40 and White considered retiring from football after multiple knee injuries, but got a 6th year from the NCAA and decided to use a graduate transfer to come from USC to West Virginia. This Mountaineer defense, deep on the defensive line, probably the best defensive unit. This is the most complete team Dana Holgorsen has had since West Virginia joined the Big 12. And we get a flag. This one is coming back.
Yeah, the Texas Tech wide receivers weren't even set on the outside edge.
False start on the offense. All 11 players were not set prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty, replay, 2nd down.
All 11. Wow. And this is what happens when you get to going so fast sometimes. You've got to be disciplined, and you've got to make sure that you're smart enough. And just a ton of movement before that snap, and the officials making the right call.
No T.J. Vasher, one of the starting wideouts and one of the better ones for Texas Tech. We were told he was doubtful and would be a game-time decision. That one is intercepted off the hands of Bowman into the hands of Kenny Robinson. Robinson had 3 interceptions last year, an all Big 12 selection, and West Virginia back in business.
After being so precise on all of his passes, Bowman makes the first mistake, and Robinson right there to clean it up. This ball is thrown in and behind him, and when you put that paw up as a wide receiver, the one thing that you're thinking is, you know, you're still trying to make that play, but you run the risk of tipping the ball right up to the defense, and Bowman off target here is the reason why West Virginia's offense is now back out on the field with wonderful field position, and Will Grier with an opportunity to lead his team to another touchdown.
West Virginia begins inside the Texas Tech 40. Grier to the air again. Buying time. Dumps it off. And that's caught by Kennedy McCoy, the running back, a gain of 8. Ahmad, what's impressive about Grier's pocket presence?
You can tell he's seen every look. At this point in his career, he's played every defense in the Big 12. He understands the concepts, what they're trying to do to him defensively, and you saw it there, the poise, the patience. He didn't even panic despite the pocket collapsing, despite coverage being well downfield. Will Grier still made a play.
On the ground this time, it's McCoy. Hammerheads up the middle. A first down for West Virginia. Kennedy McCoy, junior from Lexington, North Carolina, came in averaging better than 6 yards per carry. West Virginia 3-0, wins against Tennessee, Youngstown State, Kansas State. The NC State game canceled due to Hurricane Florence. And there is David Sills, unable to hang on. Adrian Fry was there, and we get a flag at the end of the play. Fry getting to start for Desmond Smith, who got hurt last week.
Appeared to be early contact there from Fry. Good coverage. He's in the right position.
Prior to the pass, holding on the defense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot, automatic first down.
David Sills is not an easy cover. In fact, Cliff Kingsbury told the media this week that Sills reminds him of Mike Evans, the former Texas A&M receiver, who was Johnny Manziel's favorite target.
Yeah, that's high praise. And, you know, with that 6'4" frame, what he does is he shields defensive backs extremely well, and you'll see him run some slants today, and you'll be in good coverage like Fry was there, and he's still a handful despite being in a good position.
Greer to Sills on the slant, and Sills suplexed to the ground at the 11-yard line by Fry.
Guys, and that's what makes this West Virginia so difficult. You saw there the body position by Sills making the play, but on the play before, it's so hard on these DBs, and that's something that plagued them in this game last year, was penalties from the defensive backfield. They were called for 5 pass interference penalties, 16 penalties overall for over 150 yards. Absolutely killed this Texas Tech defense a year ago.
Letty Brown, the true freshman running back, into the game for West Virginia. The give is to Brown. And the bruiser from Philadelphia is close to a first down.
Yeah, Roddy, what's your impression of this Mountaineers rushing attack?
I really like the fact that they're committed to it. It's downhill. It really sets up their RPOs, the run-pass options, especially down here in the red zone.
On third down, Jennings down to the 1-yard line, first and goal. And Dana Holgerson told us, you want to defend David Sills down here? Fine, we'll run the ball. We will take what the defense gives you.
And there is no fumble.
Onto the ground and into the end zone for 6. It's Letty Brown, his second rushing touchdown of the season.
I tell you what I really like about that drive. The tempo that Jake Spavital and this offense went into. They started off with normal pace, and then you saw them really speed it up at the end here and put the pressure on this Texas Tech defense that's been on the field already at this point longer than the opposing team. So what you're starting to see here is the mind game and the chess pieces and the movements between these two coordinators, and Spavital is 2-0 right now as the first 2 drives for his team resulted in touchdowns.
Letty Brown on the ground. Young man from Philadelphia. They think he's going to be a special one. Dana Holgerson told us there's no real starter at running back. They like to play the hot hand, get a lot of different bodies in there. We've seen McCoy, we've seen Petaway, and Brown with the last touchdown. PAT by Evan Staley is good. It started with a turnover. Kenny Robinson, the interception off the tip ball. And West Virginia using the short field and getting the freshman from Philly.
ESPN College Football is presented by the unexpected energy of ExxonMobil. Energy lives here. And in part by Infinity. Empower the drive.
Couple of head coaches who know each other well. Dana Holgerson was an assistant for a long time at Texas Tech when Cliff Kingsbury played there. Then they were colleagues, friends, roommates at Houston under Kevin Sumlin. Of course, Kingsbury, a record-setting quarterback with the Red Raiders, and he's become a quarterback whisperer in the college game. His proteges have had great success, not just in college, but we're starting to see that at the next level too.
What about the fashion statement with those sweet shades he has on?
This is Bowman out of the end zone and takes it up close to the 25-yard line. Roddy, what are your keys today for Texas Tech offensively?
Texas Tech's going to have to control the clock. We've already seen this West Virginia defense. So this West Virginia offense and how good they are. Texas Tech's best defense is going to be to keep the ball, stay on the field, get first downs. And then when they get close to the red zone, they got to finish down 14 points. Isn't that right, Ahmad?
Roddy, who cares if they win the time of possession when you can't score? And the Mountaineers, I'm telling you right now, they're the best team in the FBS in terms of keeping teams out of the end zone. So the Mountaineers welcome that challenge. You can keep the ball as long as you want, as long as you don't get in the end zone.
Bowman to Keyshawn Carter through his hands. That is ruled incomplete. 2nd and 10. Forward pass. Now, one thing this West Virginia defense has is a lot of team speed. Not the most physical, not the biggest defense, but it's team speed that they're built on, and you need that to survive in the Big 12.
Absolutely, especially when you're tackling out in space and everybody runs to the football and a lot of team tackles.
They'll keep it on the ground here. And that is DeMarcus Felton. A gain of 7, setting up 3rd down and 3. Texas Tech on the season, above 50% on 3rd down.
This is where Tech likes to get into their stick routes. What I mean by that is, as a wide receiver, you're trying to get just beyond the marker and allow yourself an opportunity for Bowman to zip one of those in one-on-one coverage. And on the back end right now, West Virginia is giving him the man-to-man looks that they want.
Mountaineers showing blitz. Here it comes. Bowman gets rid of it and off the hands of J.D. High. That's the 2nd ball he's had go off his hands. The last one wasn't his fault. It was behind him, and it led to an interception. This one leads to a 3-and-out.
Yeah, and if you're High, you've got to see that bear look that West Virginia likes to show. All of their defenders on the line of scrimmage. And you've got to know that that ball has to get out of Bowman's hand quickly. You've got to make that turn outside of that break extremely quick, expecting the football. Because if he catches it there and runs upfield, that's an easy 1st down for the Red Raiders.
The Australian Dominic Panizzolo to punt it away. He's only had 2 kicks returned this season, and that number will stay at 2 as Sills signals for a fair catch. 3rd possession coming for the Mountaineers. They're 2 for 2 with a pair and 27, about a 500 team. But in the last 24 games, 17-7. What's changed?
They're playing better defense, and then I think this man right here has evolved in his offense. So he's not keeping the same thing, making it very difficult for defenses to defend.
Letty Brown breaks a tackle. A flag is down as Brown picks up about 6. Might get a face mask here on Joe Wallace. Penalties were a problem when these two played last year for Texas Tech. Red Raiders had 16 in that game.
Personal foul, face mask, defense number 97, 15 yards from the end of the run, automatic 1st down.
So Tech on 15, it is a face mask on Wallace.
Yeah, and this is where Tech has really struggled. They rank 120th in FBS for penalties. And they're giving up 81 yards a game on just penalties alone. You know, you've got to be disciplined, and especially when you're going up against an offense like West Virginia who needs no favors.
Greer gets rid of it quickly. He's got Marcus Sims. And a gain of 11, a 1st down for Sims as we check in with Chris Cotter.
Okay, and each time for DirecTV, more for your college football thing. Let's go to Alabama, already up 14-0 over Louisiana. Here's Jalen Waddle. Gets to midfield, utilizes his blockers, then he cuts back. Once he gets free here, forget about it. 21-0 on the SEC Network. Tide rolling. Syracuse, meanwhile, up on Clemson over on ABC, guys.
All right, thank you. And that one dropped by the sure-handed Gary Jennings. That's funny. Chris brings up the Alabama game. Tua certainly in that Heisman discussion, as is Will Greer. So much depends on how much winning your team does. And if you look at what West Virginia has, if they win this road game, there's a good chance they'll be undefeated going into November. And that's when Will Greer might be at the top of the conversation for the Heisman. And if they have a big November, Greer could be the guy in New York. Greer off play action. Off the hands again of Jennings, incomplete. 3rd down. A chance there for Jashawn Johnson for an interception. Just couldn't dive and get it.
This is uncharacteristic of this offense, is particularly Jennings. You heard me bragging about his hands. He's got the best set of hands on the team. 2 consecutive drops. The one before would have went for a touchdown. And now you've got the ball in the hand of Will Greer. Thankfully for the Mountaineers, this kid is clutch. Watch for his composure. Also, he's got 2 favorite targets in the slot. That may be where he looks to go with this football.
Greer completing almost 80% on 3rd down. Looking for Sims, who brings it in. And he's going to be about a yard shy of the marker, 4th down. And I'd imagine the offense stays on the field.
Yeah, I'd go for it here. And what an acrobatic catch from Sims. And I think all 3 of their top wideouts, Sims, Sills, and Jennings, all have a future on Sundays and Mondays in the NFL. And Roddy talked about it earlier with all that they do in their run game in terms of the RPOs. This is the perfect opportunity to suck the defense in with either a RPO or a quick pass out to the outside edge, and it appears as though Sills is locked up on the bottom of the screen. Perfect time for a slant.
Texas Tech loading up the box on 4th down. And we get a flag.
Ball start, offense number 55. 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
That's Yadni Kajust. Okay, Ahmad, now you're backed up. It's 4th and 6 from the 38. Still leave the offense out on the field?
Now, this is a tough call, and this is why Dana is the head coach and I'm not. It looks like he's going to send out his punting unit and try to pin them inside of the 10, which I think is the right call here. But I'll also say this. Just because the punting unit is out here, this could be a perfect opportunity also for Dana to fake. Most head coaches like to fake in between the 40s, and they're just outside of the 40-yard line. And from this distance, this is a makeable distance for your punting unit.
Yeah, this is proverbial no man's land. Billy Kinney punts it away. Fair catch is called for and made at the 11-yard line. So Texas Tech holds on defense. They'll try to cut into this 2-touchdown deficit when we come back. This season, Taco Bell celebrates student sections and passionate fans like these by awarding the best student section of the year. The Texas Tech Red Raiders student section already on the national watch list. Go to ESPN.com/Taco Bell to see how your school can compete. I'm with Ahmad Brooks, former Texas Longhorn. What was it like for you with this student section when you played here?
That was rough. You know, walk right through them as you head to the locker room, and you know, it's always humorous once the game's over and hopefully you come away with a victory, but this is a spunky group, to say the least, and a lot of stuff that's said in there is not PG.
Alan Bowman to throw on 1st down. Killian picked up the blitz. Going long for Wesley, incomplete, flags down. We have seen a lot of laundry on the field in this first quarter. And if you're wondering, there was a penalty at the end of the punt. That's why Texas Tech moved up 15 yards of face mask.
Offense number 78. 10-yard penalty, replay 1st down.
Terrence Steele, the right tackle, called for a hold, so that negates a lot of the forward progress the Red Raiders got from the West Virginia penalty.
And that's something that Texas Tech's going to have to stay away from today. Ahmad talked about the fact that this West Virginia defense is small and fast. This Texas Tech offense is big and can be a little lumbering.
Bowman with time. Looking for Wesley, nearly intercepted. Keith Washington, the Michigan transfer. That might have been a pick 6 if he comes up with it.
I'll tell you what it was a lesson for Bowman. You know, when you start planning these matchups and when you have this type of speed, that's what it looks like. The ball fake here, I'm not sure even why he took his left hand off of the ball, but if you're going to throw it, throw it. You've got to let that thing loose, and that gave the defensive back an opportunity to read that play and get a great jump on the football.
Mountaineers again, drop 8, rush 3. This is Felton looking for some wiggle room. And DeMarcus Felton out to the 22. It's 3rd and long. Felton back in May had tweeted out his intent to transfer, but had a change of heart. He was a young man who hadn't seen him much playing time the last couple of years. A senior, thought about going elsewhere, but then decided he wanted to be a part of this team. And talking to Cliff Kingsbury, the coaches really felt happy for him after the performance he had in the win against Oklahoma State. On 3rd down, here's the pressure. Bowman, incomplete. Another nice play by Washington, knocking it away from Wesley, who's the Big 12's leading receiver entering the week.
Yeah, but those are the plays that if you're Wesley, that's how you win over your quarterback. You've got an opportunity. They want zone coverage. He's coming across the field on a dig, and this is a catchable ball. He puts it in a good location. If you get your hands on it and you've got this kind of frame at 6'5", 200 pounds, you've got to make that play for your team and your quarterback to keep the chains moving. Texas Tech with another missed opportunity.
Panazzolo to punt it away. And a fair catch is made by Jennings. Tonight on ABC, a whiteout in Happy Valley. Number 9 Penn State taking on number 4 Ohio State. college football playoff implications, potential Heisman implications for Dwayne Haskins. Coverage begins at 7:30 Eastern, and you can watch it on the ESPN app.
That's going to be a slobber knocker.
How about the season? Haskins has had 16 TDs.
He's balling.
1 pick, completing 76% of his passes. Martell Pettaway bouncing off the defender, and he's to the 41, a gain of 8 for the junior from Detroit.
That was great patience to get in behind the offensive line, reading the block, and making the cut at the right time. Excellent first down yardage for the Mountaineers.
West Virginia gets almost half of its yards on first down. Sims into Red Raider territory, and he's spun down at the 45. 4th catch for Marcus Sims.
Did you see how fast that ball came out of Will Greer's hand? And the decision-making, the efficiency. I mean, this young man's seen it all. He saw the one-on-one matchup, went into the RPO game, and he got that thing out there in a hurry.
Best quarterback in college football?
Yeah, and I think he's my leading Heisman candidate right now for sure.
Greer, downfield, looking for Sims. Touchdown, Mountaineers.
And that is why. What a dart. And we knew coming in that this Texas Tech defense, passing defense in particular, really struggles. Will Greer here, this is his second read. He started on the right side of the field, comes back across, knew he had a one-on-one matchup based on what he saw at the top of coverage. Comes back, throws a beautifully thrown ball exactly where Sims was going to be. Man, what a throw from Will Greer.
5 catches, 91 yards for Sims. Last week against Kansas State, 5 for $136. Sims already in this first quarter, closing in on his 3rd straight 100-yard game. And Will Greer, 11 out of 15, 174 yards. He has looked every bit the Heisman candidate he is, and Alan Bowman, for the first time this season, has looked like a freshman.
Well, there's reasons for that. You know, this is Bowman's first big game. This is not Will Greer's first big game. And I think that's the difference here. And then you start to just kind of look at the way this offense has been led by Will Greer. 12th time since the start of last season that they've scored at least 20 points in a quarter, right? Like, that takes a guy that's locked in. He knows what he's getting, the scripted plays. He's already run through his head the night before. You know, he's gotten those mental reps, and then he comes out here and just flat out executes.
21-0 West Virginia already. Mountaineers have scored on 3 of their first 4 possessions. And we'll get a flag, so a procedure call will give Texas Tech good field position as we check in with Chris Cotter. All right, Chris, Syracuse last year stunned Clemson on a Friday night at the Carrier Dome. One of the biggest wins in school history for the Orange, and you got Syracuse now 4-0 for the first time since '91. Clemson, it's Trevor Lawrence's team. There's no Kelly Bryant. After Lawrence was named the starter, Bryant announced his intention to transfer. So Roderick Thompson into the backfield for Texas Tech. Bowman slings one toward the sideline, just threw that away. Zach Austin was the closest receiver. 2nd down. What's West Virginia doing defensively, Roddy, right now to take Texas Tech out of its rhythm?
They're challenging everything on the outside. They are right up on these Texas Tech receivers. And when Bowman's been able to make the throws, the receivers haven't helped them by making the catches. Texas Tech receivers are going to have to make contested catches all day. They haven't been able to do it so far.
Bowman. And there's Wesley for his first catch. A gain of 13. Once again, Chris.
Okay, in studio, here's what happens with Clemson. Travis Etienne scores on the Wildcat. So Cuse is up 6-0. Clemson now back on top 7-6 over on ABC.
Now everybody got to see it. There's Jadian High to the 41. A gain of 14. High, a sixth-year senior. Young man grew up on a ranch, cleaning horse stables and pig pens, feeding chickens.
My kind of guy. And that's the Bowman we've seen. Two efficient and beautifully thrown balls. That's the young man I've seen on film all week.
Bowman, again, plenty of time. Going long, wants Wesley. He's got it. And Texas Tech answers.
Yeah, this was a beautifully thrown ball. Right on target, found the matchup he wanted over the top. Wesley doing the right job versus Washington to get skinny once he's beat him. So now you allow the quarterback to throw over the top of you, and it puts the back at your back. And Wesley going up making a heck of a grab as he scores his 5th touchdown of the year.
No TJ Vasher today, but Wesley came into this game as the top receiver statistically in the Big 12. 2 weeks ago in a win against Houston, 13 catches for a school record 261 yards.
That's amazing. And what I like about Wesley, he's also a very smart football player. You know, you look at him and immediately you look at his size and you go, oh, he's just a possession wide receiver. He does so much more when you watch him on film. And he's really developed his game. And he's now become one of the top targets here in the Big 12 after last year really almost being irrelevant at times in the ball game where you couldn't even find him.
You know, Ahmad, one injury update that we did not tell our viewers, that is not Fearless Champion. Fearless Champion, the normal horse that comes out on the field for Texas Tech with masked rider in the saddle. Fearless Champion is out with a leg injury. So Cody, the backup, stepping in today. Need depth everywhere.
It's next man up and next horse up mentality here at Texas Tech.
Let's get it.
You can stream college football all season long on ESPN Plus. Start your free trial today by downloading the ESPN app. Great way to enjoy the college football season. You get into some of the Olympic sports as well. If anything's worth $4.99 a month, believe me, ESPN Plus.
I definitely have it.
Well, you get the free password from work.
No, but I want to pay for it. And then here comes this offense again. Will Greer, you saw him be very efficient on the last drive in an RPO package. And I know for some people at home, you may think that was play action, but he had an opportunity to hand it off or to throw it, and he made the right decision.
And this is Petaway. Advances across the 30 all the way to the 34-yard line. Got a generous spot, and it'll set up a 2nd and 1. Chunk yards on first down seem to be par for the course for West Virginia.
You said it. And I think so much of it is because of what they do in the RPO package. It really forces the defense to have to defend and do their job. You can't try to do two-gap if you're a defensive lineman. You have to stay focused and stay true to your defense.
Back to Petaway. Another first down for West Virginia. Roddy, is West Virginia a team that can win the Big 12 this season?
I did not pick them to win the Big 12, but if they play like this on offense, absolutely. And they may have the best player in the conference in Will Grier. And this defense is so impressive when you see them on the field. The team speed. Now, are they going to be able to beat Oklahoma? I don't know about that. But is Oklahoma going to be able to beat them twice? That's the big question that I have. It's tough to beat a team twice, especially one as good as West Virginia.
Meanwhile, an injured player for Texas Tech being attended to, trying to find out who that is. It's 94. That's Lonzel Gilmore, one of the defensive linemen. And that's a good sign. Gilmore able to get up on his own power. Cliff Kingsbury has seen his offense now get on the board. Now hoping his defense can come through with another stop. Petaway taken down in the backfield. Tony Jones, who's lived in the backfield this season, his 6th TFL, as we check in again with Chris.
All right, guys, when you got a running back like A.J. Dillon, it opens up the passing game. Here's Boston College's Anthony Brown. Finding his favorite receiver wide open. Jeff Smith, PAT missed. Temple with a 1-point lead over BC over on ESPNU.
BC trying to bounce back after getting whooped by Purdue in West Lafayette last week.
And a player with its helmet's off.
2nd down and 10, final minute of this first quarter. We expected offense. We've seen 4 touchdowns already.
Not surprising from these two.
Will Grier, 11 out of 15. Petaway picks up the blitz. Sims able to hang on, and he's going to be close to another first down. It's 3rd and short, and Sims closing in on another 100-yard receiving game.
And he's had some success today on that hook route. Really finding space in between, and Will Grier is putting the ball in the right location, allowing him to make those catches. 3rd and short here, one of the best 3rd down teams in the nation. And Will Grier, this is where he likes to get into his RPO to really suck in the defense.
Grier over the middle, Sims. A flag down at the end of the play. If it stands, it will be the 7th catch of the quarter for Sims.
Holding, defense number 23. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is a first down.
Guys, that was an incredible throw by Will Grier. That receiver is not open in college football. College quarterbacks don't make that throw. That's only an open receiver in the NFL, and that was an NFL throw from Grier.
Agreed.
On the delay, McCoy slips past the defense. McCoy, is he in? Touchdown, West Virginia. A 38-yard run by Kennedy McCoy.
Wow. The rhythm of this offense right now. You know, you pass the ball, you pass the ball, you pass the ball. And then you come back with a delay, draw, whatever you want to call it, where you get the defense thinking pass and you hand it off to one of the fastest players on the team and let him do the rest of the work right out of the backside. And West Virginia, man, showing why they have one of the best teams in the country, and it starts with this offense.
An impressive opening quarter on the road as Staley drills the PAT. Right now, West Virginia on pace for 112 points. Top that, Chris Cotter.
I can top that. Alabama's on pace for like 1.3 million points. Jalen Hurts in the game, so his option to redshirt this year is over, but he makes the most of it here, finding Henry Ruggs III over on the SEC network. It is now 35-0 early second quarter. Tide hammering Louisiana.
All right, so that might be the scoreboard we're watching. Who scores more today, Alabama or West Virginia? But listen, Texas Tech is going to put up points. This offense is too good to be held in check. The question is going to be, can they stop West Virginia?
Well, they can't give up the big plays. They're giving those up. And you've got to limit them to field goals once they get inside of the red zone to shave some of those points. And they just haven't been able to do it. And then talking to the defensive coordinator yesterday for Texas Tech, David Gibbs, he knew that this was going to be a challenge today. He said it to us. He was very aware of it. He was just hoping that his defense could make a few plays to keep the Texas Tech Red Raiders offense in the game in the fourth quarter.
Bowman. And that's the final play of the first quarter. Oh, you bet West Virginia looks the part right now of a Big 12 contender and maybe more. They're on pace for more than 1,100 yards of total offense. Mountain Mama up 28-7. Cliff Kingsbury started growing out a beard after the Week 1 loss. The Red Raiders 3-0 since he started growing the beard out. So it got us thinking. We have all these advanced metrics. We forecast, we project. What if Texas Tech goes on a 12-game win streak? He's Fitzmagic. If they match Oklahoma's record 47-game win streak, he's going to go Dumbledore on us.
That's good stuff. Well, they'll need to come out here offensively and be sharp in order for that streak to continue.
They've got some work to do. Tazon Henry with a nice pickup on first down. Ahmad, you grew up playing against Cliff Kingsbury. You played against him not only in the All-Star circuit in high school, but in college as well. What was he like?
Well, he's cool, calm, and collected, and he's still carrying himself that way as a head coach, and that's why his players enjoy playing for him.
I liked what you said at walkthrough yesterday. He's got swag.
He does.
Keyshawn Carter, former high school track champion, and we get a flag on the play.
Personal foul, face mask, defense number 2, 15 yards added to the end of the run, first down.
Penalty on Kenny Robinson, the safety.
And Robinson is a good football player. There, just gets his hands too high. Got to make sure that you get your hands in and around the waist to prevent that call from happening.
Austin in motion, lining up in the slot. Bowman rolling out, floats one downfield out of bounds, second down.
Here's what I'm noticing. I'm not seeing the same poise and patience out of this young man. That was only a 3-man rush, and he was moving backwards, trying to throw the ball forward. What we've seen from him on film is his ability to maneuver throughout the pocket. And if this young man continues to play with that anxiety, it's going to be a long day for the Red Raiders.
Bowman gets rid of it quickly. He's got Daquan Bowman near sideline for a gain of 6. You want to see more of that, the quicker decisions, the poise.
And sit tough in there. You know, West Virginia, now give them credit. They do a great job of bringing the blitz, the house 5 or 6, and then they'll come back and drop 8 guys. But at the end of the day, that's the challenge with this defense when you go against them. So if you're Bowman, you've just got to lock in, trust your offensive line and your scheme.
Mountaineers showing blitz, nearly jumped off sides. Will they bring the house or will they drop 8? Now it looks like they're going to drop. Felton. This is going to be close. And I think if it's 4th down, I would imagine Texas Tech will go for it. It is 4th down. Offense out on the field, and the crowd applauds.
Texas Tech bringing in their fullback / tight end, Connor Killian. Expect the run here.
Here's Felton. Broke the initial tackle to pick up the first down. The senior from Houston, only 5'7", but he runs hard.
And just get in behind that fullback. I'd go back to the ground here. They found some success, put some pressure on this defense.
Instead, it's to the air. Wide open, finding the soft spot in the zone. Jadian high for a first down.
That's a great job from Bowman of finding a passing window. So many times with this West Virginia defense, when they drop back numbers, they cloud up your look. And so you have to sift through that and be able to see to the next level. Bowman doing a good job of that there.
Screen pass to Wesley. And he is tripped up by Keith Washington. Good tackle in space by the junior from Alabama.
That's a tough play to make. You know, I believe it's the hardest tackle in football in the open field. And Washington there making it look easy.
So Roderick Thompson in at running back. He gets the call. Fighting for extra yards, and Thompson inside the 10. It'll bring up 3rd and short. Running back was a position that was a big question mark going into the season, and injuries to their top 2 guys, DeLeon Ward and Trey King, but the freshman Thompson and Henry have given some punch and some juice to Texas Tech, and now with Ward and King back today, the Red Raiders feel comfortable with a 5-man stable in the backfield. They're going to measure to see if Thompson got enough for the first down.
Now watch this block on the right side of your screen as Travis Bruffy, the left tackle, is pulling over. Watch him seal that edge right there. Excellent play. And I think that's what you need when you start to talk about your tackle. He's 6'6", 305. Doesn't look all that mobile on tape, but that was an excellent job of moving around, sealing the edge, and allowing for that running back to get closer to the first down marker.
Just shy of the first down marker after the measurement. And that offensive line, they've played together now in 14 of the last 15 games. A lot of experience, all 5 starters back. The chemistry up front has been a big reason for the offensive success with a true freshman quarterback and a couple of freshman running backs.
You're right. You know, and offensive line play is so much about communication and chemistry, as you said. And this is a group that hangs out together. They eat together. They study together. And then you're seeing it here on the field.
3rd and short. Bowman will try to sneak it forward, and he's got enough for a first down.
Yeah, and up until this drive, it was hard for me to believe that Cliff Kingsbury had found a rhythm in his play calls. Now you're really starting to see him mix it up. The run game is helping because they're getting yardage off of that. But Texas Tech is in a good rhythm as they have a fresh set of downs inside of the 10.
Toss to Felton, and he is deleted back at the 10.
Oh my
Josh
goodness.
Norwood, the cornerback.
He was on a corner blitz. And he just blows the play up. Fantastic. You'll see him here at the bottom of your screen. Excellent angle on the ball carrier. And Felton will fill that one tomorrow.
12th play of the drive. West Virginia jumped. Flag is down. Contact was made. Looked like David Long, the linebacker.
Offside, defense number 46. Penalty be 5 yards, still 2nd down.
When I watch film, this is where I believe Bowman can grow the most, in his cadence. Especially, there's oftentimes you can get a beat on when he's going to snap that ball because of the pace that they run. If he can add more of this to his game, defenses that like to blitz like West Virginia, you have to be on your heels knowing that he could go into that fake cadence and catch you off sides.
On 2nd and goal, Felton brought down from behind by Long, the outstanding weak side linebacker, averaging 10 tackles a game.
He's everywhere. I mean, when you turn on the tape, you're not going to see a frame where 11's not in it. He plays with the right energy. He's an emotional player, and he's also got great talent.
3rd and goal. The 6'5" Wesley is lined up at the top.
Yeah, I bring the heat here if I'm West Virginia and force him to get this ball out of his hand quickly as the West Virginia defensive backs are playing in soft coverage.
Bowman. End zone. Too high for Bowman. Allen looking for Daquan, and it's 4th down. And the kicking team will come out. Clayton Hatfield will attempt a short field goal.
Well, let's go back to the keys of the game. Winning the red zone. That was my key. Now you've shaved off points, assuming they make this field goal. Texas Tech had an opportunity to score, but the West Virginia defense bending but not breaking.
The kick is good by Hatfield. A 13-play drive. Texas Tech got into a bit of a rhythm and then stalled inside the 10. The Red Raiders settle for 3.
Well, guys, it's Texas Tech's ball now. And as their offense comes out on the field, it is so important. Ahmad, you absolutely nailed the fact that they're going to have to score in the red zone. Because they weren't able to do this on that last drive, it puts even more pressure on this defense because this defense has to stay close enough, has to keep this team close enough. When you get a turnover, it matters because Texas Tech is banking on the fact that Will Greer is going to get them at least one. They've got to keep it close enough where it matters.
Letty Brown on 1st down. Got right back to the line of scrimmage, maybe a yard as we check in with the studio.
All right, let's check back in with Syracuse and Clemson. Really nice drive for the Qs. Ends up here with Eric Dungy keeping it himself against that vaunted defensive line. Back up on top, Orange, 13-7.
13-7, the Orange looking to spring the upset again. Greer to the air. And he's got TJ Simmons bouncing to the outside, slips a tackle. Simmons with a full head of steam. Slingshots to the 45, a 20-yard pickup. Now, Will Greer just does not panic back there.
Did you see him? I mean, the guy could have had a picnic in the pocket. He's just bouncing around like doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo.
I mean, Ahmad, has Will Greer been touched by a black jersey today? I think the pregame handshake was the only time anybody from Texas Tech has touched him.
Wow. And, you know, and here's the thing. Because he dissects defenses so well, he knows what's coming. So he knows when I can sit in the pocket and when I need to move.
He'll give it to Brown. And Brown works his way through a roadblock for 2. Roddy, when we were talking to the coaches, they kept on coming back to the same descriptor for Will Greer. He's a pro playing college ball.
And he absolutely is. You can see it in the fact that obviously he's a transfer that came in here from the University of Florida. He's married. He has a daughter. He's got different issues going on at home than what most of these guys do, and that puts football in a different perspective. This is a big 3rd down for West Virginia again here, guys. See Will Greer checking at the line. He's got single coverage at the top. Let's see if he goes there. The snap and the throw deep down the field to David Sills. Guys, I like that. And they're going to get a flag on the back end, but I like that call. It was double slants to clear it out, get David Sills down the field by himself. And let's see what the flag is. And that's a killer if you're Texas Tech. It's third down. You just have to trust yourself down the field. Trust that you're going to make the right play without grabbing. Texas Tech just has not been able to do this. This West Virginia offense is averaging over 10 yards a play. They don't need any help with these penalties, and it's absolutely killed Texas Tech on defense. Snapping the draw. That's a great play by this Texas Tech defensive line there, though. When West Virginia's really rolling, the run plays on first down, if they're able to get 5, 10 yards on first down running the football, that's when this offense is unstoppable. So if Texas Tech's able to create some of these negative plays, then they're going to have a shot. You see the breakup at the top of the screen. A great play on the edge by Jordan Brooks. Oh, excuse me. That was number 20, Adrian Fry, doing a fantastic job there. That's trusting it, and that's winning the one-on-one battles. This is one of the first third and longs that we've seen from West Virginia. They've got Sills singled up to the West Virginia sideline. Texas Tech looks like it's going to be one-on-one coverage. Will Greer has liked these one-on-one matchups. Let's see if he goes to Sills at the top. As he looks, goes back to Sills. That's just a fantastic catch. There's nothing more that Texas Tech could have done playing defense there. There's nothing more. I mean, Adrian Fry is draped all over David Sills, and he's still able to complete the pass. I mean, that's NFL coverage on the other side, but again, an NFL throw. That throw could have been made to one place. It's the outside shoulder of David Sills, and over, Will Greer's been able to do it here. Long pass down the field. Will Greer just overshoots his receiver. We'll be back here in Lubbock after a short break.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by the all-new totally remixed Volkswagen Jetta and Skittles. Taste the rainbow.
Chris Cotter board for the Clemson, and they're losing on ABC, Anish.
Wow, you talk about the worst-case scenario for Clemson. And this is the second straight year against Syracuse you lose your starting quarterback. Kelly Bryant got hurt in the game last year. Bryant this week, who had been splitting time with Lawrence, announced he's going to transfer. Lawrence was named the starter. Now you're down to your third stringer in Chase Bryce. Alan Bowman's going to take a shot downfield for Daquan Bowman. Underthrown and incomplete. No flag, second down. Wow, Clemson. Trevor Lawrence down. Dabo Swinney did tell us when we were there a few weeks ago, he felt he could win the ACC with Chase Bryce as his quarterback. We're about to see how much truth was in that statement. Meanwhile, the Red Raiders looking to come back here. Got to stop on fourth down. Bowman throws it away, intended for Daquan Bowman again. Third down.
Yeah, like testing this West Virginia defensive backfield, coming out on first down, trying to take a shot downfield. The ball was underthrown. Then you come back here, you get Bowman on the move. I think that's the way to go, especially with the way that this West Virginia defense attacks. In this situation, let me tell you something. West Virginia likes to bring the heat on third and long. Expect some type of pressure.
And here it is. Bowman hit hard. Throws it up, intended for high, and it's broken up. Josh Norwood got his hand on it. Keyshawn Carter actually the intended target, not high. And double coverage by West Virginia, so Texas Tech has to kick it away.
And I alluded to it earlier when there was a three-man rush and Alan Bowman was backing up away from the pocket. It's because of the heat that this team can bring if you're West Virginia. And you might have been sitting at home thinking that was a wise throw to throw it out of bounds. All I was saying was that this young man needs to stay in the pocket when he has the opportunity. But you can see why it's difficult because of what West Virginia does.
Panazzolo punts it away. Fair catch called for and made by Sills inside his own 30. Mountaineers with the ball, 5:16 to go in this opening half. ESPN College Football presented by ExxonMobil. Alongside Ahmad Brooks, I'm Anish Shroff, Roddy Jones down on the sideline. We apologize for some technical difficulties. We had some issues with our booth microphones a little while ago. We hope to have that resolved for you. 28-10 the score. Mountaineers on top. They've got the ball looking to tack on with 5 minutes into change to go here in the first half. And they'll keep it on the ground. It's Kennedy McCoy, part of that backfield triumvirate. McCoy, Petaway, and Brown. Alex Sinkfield was the Ringo Starr of that group, but he's out today. He's still injured. Got hurt in the Youngstown State game. Has not played since. On second down, back to the ground. McCoy broke the initial tackle. Lost the football, but they say he was down. And he's got enough for a first down. And Ahmad and Roddy, the theme seems to be constant. West Virginia has been doing so much damage on first down.
Well, that's where this team coming into the ball game, you said it earlier, almost 50% of their yards on the year have come on first down, and they've continued to be hot on that down, Roddy.
They have, and the commitment to the run has been a big part of it. I mean, it's pick your poison with this West Virginia offense, especially on first down when everything's available.
On the ground once again, Letty Brown. Talking to Dana Holgerson, he told us as we have more flags, even with Will Greer and these NFL caliber receivers, they're not married to throwing the ball 50 times a game. You look at their splits, it's almost 50-50 run and pass. They will take what the defense gives them.
It looked like some extracurricular activity down
There's
here
been
on the field.
chippiness in this series over the last few years.
And I asked Cliff, I asked him, well, what is it about these two matchups? And I know there were teams when I played at the University of Texas we just didn't like. And, and that's okay. And I think throughout the week it really adds to the hype of the game, but you've got to be able to control your emotions in a situation like this.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 55 on the offense. Also unsportsmanlike conduct, number 53 of the defense. Those penalties offset. It is both players' first unsportsmanlike of the game.
Yadni Kajust, the left tackle, and the defensive end for Texas Tech, Eli Howard. We told you at the start of the broadcast, you've got two coaches who are great friends. They've got a history with each other, Dana Holgerson and Cliff Kingsbury. You've got two brothers on opposite staffs.
Yeah, you've got to be able to balance that bite, though. Sometimes you bark out here. You bite during the whistles and you bark when it's after the whistle. And then you wait for the next snap and you tell that guy, hey, I'll see you next play. But you've got to be controlled and understand that when you have penalties like that, you really do hurt your team.
On second down, Greer underneath to Jennings. And Jennings able to fight for a few extra yards. I think he's got the first down. Now, one thing that David Gibbs was worried about, the Texas Tech defensive coordinator, is how West Virginia deploys its wideouts, Roddy. They use their bigger guys on the inside.
And David Gibbs is an NFL guy. He's used to those big, long, strong receivers being on the outside, and the quicker guys like Marcus Sims being on the inside. West Virginia does it opposite, so it's almost flipping the way that you think about it, because typically those big guys are matched up against nickel corners, which are typically smaller and quicker.
It's 3rd and short. McCoy's got the first down. Blast past the 45 for a gain of 7. Roddy, what's the tactical advantage of playing your bigger guys on the inside?
Well, you get the bigger bodies, the mismatches against those nickel guys, which are typically smaller, as I said, but also you can line those guys up against linebackers and create some of those mismatches. And Ahmad, as a safety, I'm sure it even changes the way that you play and the way that you shade a particular guy in a particular way.
That's true, but then you're also looking at the fact that that's a closer throw for the quarterback, right?
Throw to a bigger target. Greer over the middle. Sims, that's his 8th catch of the first half.
He does a fine job of finding space on the field. And oftentimes in this offense, especially when you have a veteran quarterback like Will Greer and a wide receiving core that also has experience, you can do different things, which allows you to tell them to read leverage. If a guy is sitting outside, you run in. And if he's sitting inside, you run out. And West Virginia does a lot of that in this offense.
McCoy to the 29. Now those 3 receivers, Sims, Jennings, and Sills, all came into this game averaging at least 80 yards per game. It is,
that's crazy.
In every sense, pick your poison.
When we were talking to Texas Tech yesterday, David Gibbs told us that, they've kind of drawn the short end of the stick, having played this wide receiving core and also the Ole Miss wide receiving core, maybe the 2 best in the country.
Yeah, no question. All day for Greer. He can read War and Peace back there. And finally throws it away.
And guys, as much as West Virginia has been on fire today, the best part about this game for Texas Tech, they have not allowed a touchdown in the second quarter. So this Texas Tech defense, with less than 2 minutes to go, is still fighting. And now they're making substitutions because West Virginia has. And this is a key 3rd down right here. Can you get off of the field? If you're David Gibbs, you're going to put your corners in man-to-man. You've got to win those matchups. If you're linebackers, make sure you're flowing to the football. Hit what you see and guess right.
Texas Tech blanked Oklahoma State in the second half last week. And we're going to get a timeout from West Virginia and Dana Holgorsen before this 3rd and 7.
West Virginia calls their first timeout of the half. It'll be a media break.
Timeout by Holgorsen into the Mountaineers. 1:50 to go. A big 3rd down coming up. Third and 7, West Virginia from inside the 30 of Texas Tech.
And all game long, Texas Tech has given them the one-on-one matchup to the boundary. It appears as though they're doing that again today with safety coverage rolling over Sills. Greer could go back to the one-on-one matchup to the boundary.
A 3-man rush. Greer over the middle, and he goes right back to Marcus Sims, who's got 9 catches and now a new career high with 138 yards as we check in with Chris.
Okay, Anish, halftime reports coming your way in just a little bit. Emmanuel Acho and Jim Moore will join me. We got highlights of Alabama, both Tua and Jalen Hurts with touchdown passes in their game. They got a big lead. Trouble with Clemson, though. Trevor Lawrence went out with an injury in their game against Syracuse. We'll give you an update there coming up at the half.
Greer looking for 6, looking for Sills. Incomplete. Greer hit the ground. I think that might be the first time Texas Tech has really gotten legitimate pressure on the quarterback today.
Yeah, Tony Jones got his hands on Will Greer, and he was looking for the one-on-one matchup to the top. And is what I alluded to. Now you get Sills on that backside. That's a favorable matchup.
Tony Jones, 9 in black, the designated pass rusher for Texas Tech. On 2nd down, Greer to throw. McCoy out of the backfield, gets past Dakota Allen, but not very far. And it brings up another 3rd down. As we come up on 1:13 to play now in this opening half. Clock is stopped.
Yeah, this is the time where you look for your top targets, Jennings, Sills, and they've now moved them both into the boundary, which makes it extremely difficult on the defense, right? You would expect some type of high-low look, combination routes for sure on that side, and I wouldn't be surprised if Weir goes to his top targets.
Greer looking that way. Looking for Jennings, who brings it in. The second touchdown of the game by Gary Jennings. What a grab.
I mean, you know, there wasn't anywhere else to throw the ball, but watch this catch, the top of your screen. And they crossed them over. That makes it extremely difficult for guys to get in your face, because if you've got big wide receivers, you want to jam them up at the line. But they weren't able to do that. Jennings slips on the backside, and the catch there was phenomenal.
PAT is good. 35-10, and we remind you tonight on ABC, Ohio State visits number 9 Penn State. A whiteout expected at Beaver Stadium. Coverage begins at 7:30 Eastern. Second game back for Urban Meyer. Big playoff implications, Big Ten implications. Meanwhile, Gary Jennings, you know what the difference is between this year and last year? A season ago, he led the Big 12 with 97 catches. Only had 1 touchdown. So far this year, 20 catches, 6 touchdowns, including 2 today.
Yeah, he's won the confidence of his, definitely for sure, of his quarterback. And, you know, at that time there, the matchup, just moving those 2 into the boundary, that put this Texas Tech Red Raider defense in a pickle, and it was the right matchup. Douglas Coleman, the third, the nickelback, 6'1", 190, from Zachary, Louisiana, drew the coverage there. That's the matchup you want. With all due respect to Coleman, that's a winning matchup for you, and Greer knew it. And listen, the way that this offense is playing right now, they've got so many different weapons. Even today, you've seen McCoy run the football extremely well, and when the run game is working the way that it has been, Will Greer will carve you up, and he'll put you back on the bus with an L.
And he's done just that through the first half, 35-10. West Virginia on top. Greer has thrown 3 touchdowns. He's thrown at least 4 in every game this season. He's had at least 300 yards passing in every game this season. He's at 278 right now. 1:08 to go, 3 timeouts for Texas Tech. Plenty of time for this offense, and you get the feeling, boy, if the Red Raiders are to have any chance at a comeback, they need something positive before halftime here.
I would agree. And if nothing else, just for the confidence of your team. Yeah, yes, you need the points, but you need to know that you can score on this dominant West Virginia defense that only allows 12.3 points per game.
Top scoring defense in the Big 12. Jadian High with the reception and a new quarterback for Texas Tech. It's Jet Duffy coming in for Alan Bowman, the true freshman.
And Duffy gives them a little bit more of an explosiveness on the ground.
Absolutely.
Against a 3-man rush, Duffy underneath. And that's High to midfield. 5th catch for High, a team best in this first half. Less than 40 seconds to go. Red Raiders have all their timeouts, clock running. Duffy will tuck and run. Picks up a first down that momentarily stops the clock with 25 seconds.
First time out of the half. It'll be
Timeout
30
Cliff
seconds.
Kingsbury with 24 seconds.
And you said it, Roddy, his ability to be able, when the play breaks down, right, to pick up the first down there, that was special indeed. But it also allows you to get into more of your run-pass options, much like they did with McLean Carter, who was a better runner. And you would expect to see Cliff get into those play calls now. And he said it yesterday when we asked him. He says, I don't try to make quarterbacks fit into my system. I do what they do well, so expect more of that throughout the course of the game.
Roddy, 24 seconds, 2 timeouts. How does Texas Tech navigate these final moments of the first half?
Well, it looks like West Virginia is going to be content to drop 8. So Texas Tech's going to have to throw into these holes in this West Virginia defense. But, guys, they've taken Alan Bowman to the locker room. They're going to check him out. The report is that it's something upper body. No official word on his status. But this is a huge drive because Texas Tech gets the ball first in the second half.
Wow. Duffy, downfield, intercepted. Second pick of the half for Kenny Robinson. Robinson into Red Raider territory inside the Texas Tech 40. And now West Virginia, with 10 seconds and 2 timeouts, has a chance to tack on to this 25-point lead.
Yeah, Duffy, the sophomore from Mansfield, Texas. This is an ill-advised throw. And you'll see it here at the top of the coverage, right? He threw it into the teeth of this defense. And one of the things from watching,
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 2 of the defense, 15-yard penalty, first down West Virginia.
That's a bad penalty on West Virginia because you were inside Red Raider territory and you got maybe a 15-yard out. You got a couple of timeouts. You can use the middle of the field. You had a chance at least for 3, maybe even 6, the way your offense is played. Oh, now those odds get a lot longer. I know you've got a big lead, but that's a penalty you can't have in that spot.
you've got to check your emotions. Robinson gets the interception, and then he negates some of his yardage with a poor penalty as they'll kneel this one and take it in with a very convincing lead.
A kneel down, and West Virginia will take a 25-point lead to the locker room. The Mountaineers put up more than 380 yards of total offense in that first half. Marcus Sims, already a career day, and we still have another 30 minutes to play. 9 catches, 138 yards for Sims. All Mountain Mama. Time for the halftime report with Chris Cotter. On mobile, start of the second half at Jones AT&T Stadium in Lubbock, Texas, all West Virginia. The Mountaineers looking every bit the part of a team that can win the Big 12, 35-10. West Virginia on top of Texas Tech in this top 25 showdown. One of 5 matchups today between a pair of ranked teams. Texas Tech will receive to begin this second half. And a Schroff alongside Ahmad Brooks. Roddy Jones we'll hear from momentarily. The big news for the Red Raiders, their starting quarterback, Alan Bowman, out for the game, injured in the first half. How does that change the offensive approach for Texas Tech?
Well, you have a game plan going in, and he's gotten all the reps with the one offense. So now you're throwing out a guy, right, who hadn't practiced much with the ones. Look for some miscommunication and maybe some faulty play early on until they figure out what they're doing.
And Jet Duffy, who finished the first half for Texas Tech, will begin the second half with Trey King in the backfield. First look at Trey King today, who has not played since the opener. And King gets the call. Tackled by Bigelow after a gain of 3 as we check in with Roddy.
Guys, I had a chance to catch up with Cliff Kingsbury coming out of halftime, and he's the one that told me that Alex Bowman will not return in this game, so it's Jet Duffy's team. It was a hit that he took in the first half that knocked him out. When I asked him what changes with Jet Duffy in the game, he said we're going to look for things that he's comfortable with. And guys, the backup quarterback now is Colt Garrett, guy that's played in 1 game this year and has not thrown very many passes.
A nice run here for King to the 40, a gain of 13. And yeah, you mentioned Garrett, a redshirt sophomore who came to Texas Tech as a walk-on. And that's your quarterback depth right now. So seeing quarterbacks go down today. Trevor Lawrence for Clemson. Alan Bowman for the Red Raiders. Duffy airmails Wesley.
Yeah, that's not his strength right here. And if you're Cliff, here's what you've got to do. Get him comfortable with the game plan, right? I would expect for them to get into their RPO package. You'd like to see that on first or second down where maybe you can chip away at the sticks as Kenny Bigelow Jr. is down on the field.
And that's significant. This is a young man who's torn his right ACL twice, 2014 and 2016. He was ready to retire from football before the NCAA gave him a 6th year and he came to West Virginia. Mountaineers looking at their starting nose tackle right now. Kenny Bigelow went down before we went to break. We looked at the replay. It was hard to see where exactly he may have gotten hurt. Here's another look.
Yeah, hard to see the injury, but here's the hurt that this defense will feel and what he means to the middle of the field.
And Jet Duffy throwing meanwhile, and he's got Daquan Bowman into West Virginia territory. Darius Stills, number 56, the sophomore, has checked in at nose tackle. West Virginia does have depth on the defensive line. Darius Stills, his brother Dante, has seen playing time as a freshman, the top incoming recruit for West Virginia.
Yeah, Bigelow is he's the people eater, though, in the middle of that defense. Eats up the center and the guard, oftentimes allowing those linebackers to flow freely.
Previous play is under further review.
Well, they will look at that last play. While they look at this last play, we will step aside. 13:45 to go in the third.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Pizza Hut, official pizza of college football. No one out-pizzas the Hut. And PlayStation View. Don't miss the biggest moments in sports. Start streaming today.
Today marks the 6th time Dana Holgorsen and Cliff Kingsbury have gone head-to-head as head coaches. Holgorsen has won the last 4 meetings. Kingsbury won the first matchup in 2013. Meanwhile, that last play, they were looking at the catch near the sideline. The ruling on the field stands. It took us a while to find out what exactly the officials were looking at, but the play stands, so it is a catch by Bowman. And a first down at the 44 of West Virginia for Texas Tech. Duffy under pressure. Hit as he throws it. And Kenny Robinson nearly had a beat on interception number 3. And right now, without Alan Bowman in the game, the passing game just loses a lot of its effectiveness with Jet Duffy.
And especially when the West Virginia defensive line is getting pressure with 4 guys. That time there, Drayvon Askew Henry applying the pressure. But if you're Texas Tech, you've got to be able to block them up front to win.
Now this is Seth Collins tripped in the backfield. Askew Henry got him, and that's what West Virginia does about as well as anybody. They pay rent in the other team's backfield. Second nationally, averaging more than 10 TFLs per game.
And he should take speed to get back behind the line of scrimmage and to make that tackle. And you heard us open the show. They're fast, they're physical, they're ferocious. And this West Virginia defense has not disappointed.
They moved Askew Henry to that spur position. He said he's better with less space, and no space for Duffy as Dylan Tunkery gets his first sack of the season.
Tunkery, he has really come along. I mean, this young man has the ability to play all 3 linebacker spots. This time here fighting through 2 offensive linemen to make this play. That's how you blitz.
Panazzolo gets this one away. Fair catch is made inside the 15. ABC tonight. Ohio State, Penn State, 2 top 10 teams. One of 5 matchups between ranked opponents on this Saturday, and this one has college football playoff implications. We're now starting to get a little closer as we're about to move into October to the release of the first college football playoff rankings. This is going to be one of those games that has a seismic impact on the Big Ten going forward.
I would agree.
Mountaineers keep it on the ground. It's Kennedy McCoy for a short gain. McCoy had a nice first half, 6 carries, 65 yards. And really, West Virginia picked apart Texas Tech's defense. Will Greer, almost 280 yards passing, 3 TDs. Mountaineers had 380-plus yards of offense in the first 30 minutes. Greer on second down. Rolling to his right. And he overshoots Sills. Third down. There's a flag down.
Ineligible downfield, offense number 73. That penalty is declined, brings up third down.
It was Josh Sills.
53.
Now they'll say it was Colton McKivitz.
That is
McKivitz, the right tackle.
absolutely, Anish, and that's one of the difficulties in running RPOs, right? You saw him hold that ball in the tailback's pocket, and sometimes those offensive linemen don't know whether you're running or throwing the football.
And you defensive guys are always asking for that call. It's rarely called, but they got one here.
You're right.
Third down now. Greer steps up. And that's broken up. DeMarcus Fields, the sophomore from Taylor, Texas, and it's fourth down.
Probably the best defensive series we've seen from the Texas Tech Red Raiders, still fighting, trying to keep their team in this ball game, and they had their best quarter. You look at what they did in the second quarter. 103 yards they allowed, 7 points. They come back here, they make some plays. If this team has any chance of getting in, they'll have to continue to make stops until their offense gets it going.
Billy Kinney to punt. And Daquan Bowman, the return man. Bowman from the 29, reverses field. And we have another flag down back at the 23.
Personal foul, face mask, kicking team number 26, 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down, Texas Tech, media timeout.
So a face mask penalty on the punt. There it is. Red Raider ball when we come back. They lost 7 games by 1 possession or less in the last 2 seasons. And if you zoom out some more, look at how they started and look at how they finished. We've seen a lot of limps to the finish line. They're off to a 3-1 start this year. Right now, their starting quarterback, Alan Bowman, out for the game with an injury. So Jet Duffy is in. Little tunnel screen that time. J.D. and High with another catch. His 6th. Actually, it's Keyshawn Carter. Play action, Duffy rolling to his right. Throws near sideline, and that's a catch by Bowman.
I thought Duffy's 2 best passes today have been on the move, coming off a boot. That's what you want to see him do. If you're Cliff Kingsbury, get this young man on the move. Give him an option whether he can run the football or he can pass if need be.
You've got one of the best play callers in the business in Kingsbury on the sideline.
And I will 100% agree, Ahmad. I think every time they're on that left hash, they're going to try and run something to the right and let him throw it.
Yep.
Well, Duffy again going to that near sideline for Bowman. Now, Roddy, what is the best formula here for Texas Tech? I don't know if they can come back and win this game, but at least get their offense going again. They've been stuck in neutral.
They have. They're going to have to find a rhythm with Jet Duffy. And when we talked to Kevin Johns, the offensive coordinator, yesterday, he told us that they do have some ability to go some zone read. I think they've got to get him running a little bit to get him in this game.
A little zone read there, and it's a handoff to Sir Roderick Thompson. 3rd and long coming up, and now Tony Gibson can unleash that blitz if he chooses.
Yeah, and these are the times where he likes to in 3rd and long situations, and it's good to see Kenny Bigelow Jr. back in the game as he's coming off of the field now, but he provides a different presence. Now it looks like they bring some of their smaller, faster guys in. This is an opportunity for him to really show what Duffy has by sending the heat and making him respond.
Here's the blitz. Duffy takes a hit. That ball is incomplete, out of the hands of High. Norwood was right there to break it up. A flag is down.
Holding, offense number 79. That penalty is declined, brings up 4th down.
Left tackle Travis Bruffy, and that's what happens when you're chasing smaller, faster guys, and you're as large as Bruffy is at 6'6", 305 from Missouri City, Texas. It's a challenge, and oftentimes you're put in a very tough situation being on that outside edge, trying to protect your quarterback, and Bruffy in this offense now off the field.
Anazzolo, a high punt. And a fair catch is made at the 11-yard line by Gary Jennings. Today's hardest working player brought to you by Duluth Trading Company. Why not give it to the guy who's married, has a daughter who's almost 2, and, oh, by the way, might be the favorite right now for the Heisman Trophy.
This was brilliant. He looked the safety off, allowed, and opened up that window. And I said it during the broadcast, that was his 2nd read. He worked himself all the way from the right side of the field to the left and then put a dime in for a touchdown. Will Greer is the real deal, and he'll pass for over 300 yards today, may even find himself once again with another passing touchdown, and he hasn't even really shown you his athleticism today. The kid can run decent enough to put some pressure on you.
Greer eluding the pursuit, finding Jennings, and that is a catch. Another 1st down for West Virginia, and another big gain on 1st down.
That's the name of the game for West Virginia, and it just keeps them on schedule, and it allows them to move down the field very quickly. They pick up a ton of chunk yardage, and then the play calling has to be right. If every defense knows you still pick up yardage and you're still able to do it.
Quick slant. David Sills drags a defender across the 30. 2nd down. Greer closing in on a 300-yard afternoon. He's thrown for at least 300 yards in 12 of his first 14 starts as a Mountaineer.
And that's a difficult throw he just made. You're in that RPO package once again. He's throwing it off his front foot, his back foot, side arm. This kid can do it all.
Letty Brown surges ahead for a 1st down. We were talking with the coaches yesterday. Kids these days, because in that RPO, you've got to get rid of the ball so quickly. You're throwing the football without your hands on the seams.
You have to watch it, and when you zoom in, you're really like, whoa, that's amazing. Alan Bowman does this extremely well, and Cliff, he said, imagine how many reps these kids get, especially if you grow up in the state of Texas, you grow up in a spread offense, and so they've just gotten a lot better at it, and it's become the norm now in college football.
That's the tight end, Wesco. And Wesco, that's a grown man play inside the 40. Give him 29 yards.
Oh, boy. Well, he's 274, and he looked like it there, carrying defenders on his back.
I should say that's a Sandlot play, right? There's always the one kid.
He knows he's not going to get many touches on this team with all the dominant wide receivers they have. He better take advantage of it.
Letty Brown now, the freshman from Philadelphia, stood up by Dakota Allen, one of the best linebackers in the Big 12. And Allen's story has been well chronicled. Kicked out of Texas Tech after a burglary charge. That charge was dropped. Went to East Mississippi Community College, was featured on the Netflix series Last Chance U, and then got one more chance at Texas Tech. And he told us he was destroyed when he got kicked out of school. It was humiliating and it was humbling to go to Scuba, Mississippi, but he's come back. He's been a model citizen. This team gave him a second chance. He's made the most of it. Incomplete for Sims, who's made the most of his opportunities today for the most part. 9 catches, 138 yards.
He was wide open. He beat coverage, managed to get behind the defense, and Will Grier had the time, had a very comfortable pocket, and misfired, something we don't see him do a lot of, as this 3rd down and long here provides another opportunity for Will Grier to prove how clutch he is for this team. Coming into this ball game, this is one of the best 3rd down and red zone offenses in the country.
Tevin Bush in motion. Grier instead downfield, wanted Sills. Well covered, throw a little off, and it's going to be 4th down. Let's check in with Chris Cotter again.
First half, late in the first half, Clemson against Syracuse. Trevor Lawrence flushed out of the pocket, opts to pull it down and run with it, gets hit hard right there on the sideline. He would leave the game. He is not coming back. And right now, Clemson is trailing by 3 over on ABC.
Wow, can Syracuse do it again? Meanwhile, Evan Staley, this would be a career-long, a 53-yarder. And it's no good. Only Staley's 2nd career attempt from beyond 40. The score remains 35-10. This season, for every field goal and PAT made by participating universities, All-State will make a contribution to the university's general scholarship fund. Thank you, All-State. West Virginia scored 28 points in the first quarter, and since then, the offensive fireworks have subsided a bit, 35-10. Neither team has scored in the third. Jet Duffy in at quarterback for Texas Tech. He's a runner. And he picks up about 9.5. Setting up a 2nd and short.
That's that zone read that becomes a part of this offense with Jet Duffy in the game. And a lot of times when the quarterback gets running, everything improves.
Tayzon Henry with a 1st down. Henry, a freshman from Houston, the team's leading rusher. You hear his name pronounced Tayzon a lot. That's how it's listed. We were told today it's Tayzon. Sometimes that happens with freshmen, right? Call them one thing for a long time, and then all of a sudden, remember Monte Ball at Wisconsin? Duffy downfield, dangerous pass, and that might be a targeting on Norwood. Jadian High was the intended target. He was a defenseless player. The flag coming at the end of the play, and that could be targeting on Norwood. Was there forcible contact above the neck and shoulders?
Norwood is pointing to his shoulder.
Targeting, number 4 of the defense. That play is under further review.
So they will review the play. If the call stands, Norwood would be ejected from this game and then would have to sit for the first half of next week's game against Kansas. What do you think, Ahmad?
I see his argument. He's saying that he hit him with his shoulder. He did lead with his shoulder. He didn't lead with his head. But it's the contact to the helmet. And that's where, if you're an official and you're a replay booth, watch it here. And did he get underneath them?
Well, it's a launch, too. You can see that there is a launch, which is part of
absolutely
the criteria for targeting. And then the question is, if you're launching and you make forcible contact above the shoulders to the head or neck area, now, is that contact forcible? That appears to be forcible contact. And it really doesn't matter what part of your body you use. You can use your arm. You can use your foot.
Absolutely.
I think this is going to
I
stand
think this is
tomorrow.
the right call from Norwood. And, to that point, I would hate to be a defensive coordinator in this climate of football because it's very difficult to play defense and to not have an aggressive personality. And, you never know when that call is going to happen. And, for the safety of the game, I understand it. But it is very difficult to teach, and you're talking about a split-second decision for these defenders to make. And look, I've tried to tackle once or time or two, and it's not all that easy always, and it's not always malicious. Sometimes your technique is faulty. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't still try to protect the game from it, but I do understand sometimes how you can be in the course of a game, and this happens.
I think you see the launch and you see contact made to the helmet. So that is above the shoulders. That's that neck and head area. I would be surprised if this is overturned. I think this stands.
I would too, and this one's even tougher than most because the ball is in the vicinity. So he's trying to make a play on the ball and separate the receiver from the ball. You're right about it. It's tough. It's tough for these defenders, but by the letter of the law, I agree with you, Anish.
And what we've heard over the years from the officials, when in doubt, it's targeting.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands as called. Number 4 is disqualified from the game for targeting.
So Norwood is out, and he will have to miss the first half of next week's home game against Kansas.
Yeah, that's the right call. And I hope during the offseason that there continues to be more discussion. Even when you use the word launch, I think, that can be very difficult. I've tried to tackle before. Most of the times you leave your feet. And it's a discretion call for these officials. And like I said, I don't envy anyone who has to make that call. And I don't envy anybody who's playing in college football right now under the climate of targeting.
And you have to remember, the officials are told, if you think it's targeting, throw the flag. Nothing doing that time for Thompson. Or rather, Henry. 35-10, West Virginia on top of Texas Tech. The Red Raiders ranked after a road win against Oklahoma State last week. They blanked the Cowboys in the second half, held Oklahoma State to 0 passing yards in the fourth quarter. As Jet Duffy is engulfed by Jabril Robinson, the grad transfer from Clemson.
Yeah, this is what makes this defense so challenging. I mean, here's one of your defensive ends at 6'2", 273, and he runs like a running back. So when you try to get Duffy on that edge, normally you're going against a guy who's a lot bigger, a lot slower. That is not the case with the Mountaineers.
And a timeout by Dana Holgerson and West Virginia.
Timeout. West Virginia, their first of the half. It'll be 30 seconds.
Mountaineers have 2 left in the half. Sports Center tonight on ESPN after Ole Miss and LSU. We'll have a reaction from the outcome of Ohio State, Penn State, plus SVP's first look at the top 4 in the rankings. Could the SEC only get one team? Right now in the AP poll, Alabama and Georgia 1 and 2, and a live report from Paris before the final day of the Ryder Cup.
And to your question, I think a lot of that has to do with, what are the other conferences out there that perhaps could put in 2 teams? The Big Ten being one of them. We're going to get an opportunity to see perhaps the best 2 teams with them tonight. If that's a close game, both of those teams stay in the conversation. And I think as it continues to play out, I don't really see 2 teams out of the ACC. I don't really see 2 teams necessarily out of the Big 12 or the Pac-12. So I think this is a 2-man race, in my opinion, to put 2 teams in, with it being the SEC and the Big 10.
And Duffy on third down, running. And that's brought in by Carter. It's going to set up a 4th and about 3.5.
Yeah, run it here.
Brings up 4th down and 4 the ball on the 32-yard line.
Offense stays out on the field, down by 25. Felton in the backfield. West Virginia brings pressure. Duffy is hit. Completes to Wesley. And Antoine Wesley has the first down to Bristol and Chris Cotter.
Remember, Trevor Lawrence out of this game.
Wow. Syracuse a 10-point lead. Meanwhile, Jet Duffy just ran for a first down. And Giovanni Stewart, a linebacker for West Virginia, is down. And that is one position on this team where they are thin. They've had injuries at linebacker. They're down 3 linebackers. Stewart is starting because of injuries. They really cannot afford any more attrition at that position. All right, Ahmad, well, we have a moment here with Syracuse leading Clemson. Is the ACC out of the college football playoff conversation if Clemson loses today?
Oh, I don't think so. I still have them as my third best conference. That being said, I think the winner of the ACC title.
As your third best conference?
Yes, I do. I mean, I've got the Big Ten, the SEC,
wow,
and there goes the ACC. And so teams like Syracuse, for me, are intriguing. You know, you don't know what if you're not familiar with Syracuse, they've got a senior quarterback who started as a freshman. I think in times like this, if you're going to make a title run, and I've been a part of a few of those, you need a good quarterback, period. And so when I look at that conference, there's only a few teams that really fit that description.
I'm going to pose that same question to Roddy. If Clemson loses today, Roddy, do you think that they're done?
They're not completely done, but they're on life support, man. I don't know what Ahmad is thinking, putting the ACC as third. I'm an ACC guy. I'll defend the ACC all day, but they are the worst conference, worst Power 5 conference right now. You look at from top to bottom, you've got one contender on a national level, and then who's the second best team? Is it Miami? Is it Duke? You may only have 4 decent teams in the ACC.
If Clemson loses today, who's the best team? Right.
Very true. I mean, very true. That's a legitimate conversation that we're going to have.
Little tunnel screen. Carter tumbles inside the 10.
And I think depth of the conference. And even when I look at the Big 12, some people will say, well, only Oklahoma at this point looks like an elite team. But as you start to get to the middle of those teams, somebody's going to emerge at some point. And the season, as we know, especially when you get into November, teams start to separate themselves. So it's extremely hard right now to tell who really the top teams are in every conference.
Running a little speed option. Duffy pitches to Henry. Little juke move, and Henry taken out of bounds near the goal line. Now, we've seen Cliff Kingsbury get creative in those multiple back sets when he gets inside the 10.
I like Tayzon Henry. The more I look at this freshman from the very storied program, Houston, there at Lamar, puts out a ton of defensive backs and D1 players. And you look at him there, that's the wiggle we talked about. And Cliff said yesterday, I'm really excited to see how this guy is going to grow and develop throughout the years because he's got the stuff.
This is Henry, and he is stopped right at the point by David Long. Second down against Oklahoma State. Kingsbury drew up an incredible play down here last week. A little pop pass to Keyshawn Carter. Had the entire defense fooled as to where the ball was. Now Duffy under center, out of the I formation. Play action. Duffy in trouble. End zone wide open. Touchdown, Texas Tech. Daquan Bowman.
That was an impressive series for the Red Raiders. Mixed it up. I think it all started with them getting on the ground, starting to establish themselves, which then now forces West Virginia to defend both the run and the pass. And they've run as many plays on the day. 58 plays for West Virginia, 58 plays for Texas Tech. 11 plays on that drive, 64 yards, 3 minutes and 53 seconds as they find themselves in the end zone.
And at the pace that these two teams are capable of playing, and there's still a lot of football left.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they can play on 1 to 2 plays. They can put it together. And Texas Tech, I know with Bowman in the game, I understand that it's still one of the best deep passing teams in the country.
This week's AP Top 10 rankings brought to you by Goodyear. Alabama's still in line for the Cadillac Eldorado, they're up big on Louisiana. Georgia right now gets the steak knives. Clemson's in some trouble. They might get fired. Losing to Syracuse by 10 in the second half, and that means a chance to move up for the likes of Ohio State, Penn State, LSU. Oklahoma, the game last week that everybody talked about but nobody saw. The close win in overtime against Army. How do you view that?
They weren't ready to play. That's exactly what happened. And, you know, when you play for an elite program especially, you only have a handful of games that you really get up for. And, you know, they just thought that was going to be a walk in the park. But if you've ever battled with Navy or Army, you know that those two teams give you everything they've got.
Hatfield to kick it away. Mountaineers will take it out at the 25-yard line. Texas Tech looking to build off of the Oklahoma State win. First time they had won in Stillwater since 2001. And yeah, the coaches all talked about the Cowboy program as one that the Red Raiders have been chasing. Oklahoma State had dominated Texas Tech for almost a decade. That was a significant win. They hadn't won there since Cliff Kingsbury was a player.
That was a tough place to play. And I asked him, I said, Cliff, what did that do for the culture and the chemistry of this team? And he said, listen, it gave us confidence because we've been chasing that program. And so when you have that type of confidence, maybe it doesn't pay off today, but it will down the road.
Greer, they're finding Jennings, who picks up a first down. And again, 13 yards on first down. This is becoming a too familiar refrain, Roddy.
Yeah, and I think if I'm Jake Spavital, the offensive coordinator for West Virginia, I'm opening this thing back up. I'm turning Will Greer loose. You don't want Texas Tech to have any sort of momentum. And this offense has really kind of been in neutral since that big first quarter.
Martell Petaway finds some running room and another big gain on first down. 13 more. Dakota Allen on this stop. The Mountaineers to midfield. Will Greer, fifth-year senior, began his career at Florida. The least famous person amongst his siblings. A couple of brothers and a sister who are, as the kids say, internet famous. Petaway into the embrace of Texas Tech and Rico Jeffers.
Rico Jeffers did not even buy the play fake there from Will Greer. He just attacked the football. That's an excellent play there from the young man from Garland, Texas.
A rare negative play on first down for West Virginia. Red Raiders showing some pressure. And we have flags.
False start, offense number 79. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
That is the center, Matt Jones. That seemed like Greer was maybe trying to change things up. 9 penalties on West Virginia. Greer under pressure, gets away. And Greer able to scamper out of bounds. The pressure coming from Colin Hill. And boy, did Greer get help from a huge block in the backfield.
Wow, the block. Look at the spin move from your quarterback to avoid the sack there, and now give yourself at least a shot here on this 3rd and long. One thing you'll need here is good protection. Anytime you've got those late developing routes, you want your quarterback to be able to sit in the pocket. Texas Tech appears to be a one high safety look with man-to-man on the outside edge.
Mountaineers need the Red Raider 40. Greer downfield through the hands of Sills. Old Reliable could not come up with that, and it's 4th down.
Yeah, they got what they were looking for. The one-on-one matchup, the safety bells right before the snap. And they just set Sills right in behind that. And that's the 4th West Virginia drop. We've seen a few of them today.
Now the pendulum is swung here. Texas Tech without its starting quarterback, Alan Bowman, injured in the first half, out for the game. Looking to claw back in. Kinney kicks it away. And Bowman wisely lets it bounce into the end zone. So Texas Tech gets it back at the 20-yard line. And, for all the talk of, the Red Raiders and their struggles on defense, they got blitzed and burned and beat up pretty good in that first quarter.
Oh,
they've been okay since then.
Yeah, they were taken to the woodshed. You give up 28 points, and it looked like West Virginia could do anything they wanted on the football field. And I made the point right before we went into halftime, right, that if they could make a stop there, and they weren't able to because Jennings had a wonderful catch, but they were starting to really suffocate this offense. And whether that was West Virginia feeling like they were already up convincingly in the ball game, or Texas Tech started to win those one-on-one matchups that Roddy alluded to early on in the game about one of the keys.
First carry of the game for DeLeon Ward. His first action since the season opener against Ole Miss. Ward got hurt in that game, hadn't played since. Same with Trey King. We've seen both today. Texas Tech now 5 deep in the backfield. Duffy, 10 of 15 passing. And that one is dropped by Wesley. Third down, or rather second down.
That just took his eyes off the football. And sometimes when you're catching the ball, you're thinking about making a play after the catch, and you lose your fundamentals. You know what I mean? That's really what happens, and there's no other way to say it. That was a beautifully thrown ball by Duffy, and it would have been enough for a first down.
And I feel like drops like that really, really dampen these tempo offenses that are so predicated on rhythm.
Another 3-man rush. Incomplete, intended for the 6th-year senior, Zach Austin. Austin really didn't play much the last couple of years due to knee injuries. A teammate of Baker Mayfield's in high school. Those two still very close. Mayfield, of course, started his collegiate career at Texas Tech. Three-man rush again by West Virginia. Duffy downfield, that's caught. Now the ball comes out, and they will rule it incomplete. Jadian High was the intended target.
Two costly drops.
Now, did he catch that?
Pass.
That looks like a catch. I mean,
he looked like he
hard
may
to
have
tell.
been down.
But then it goes back to what you're saying, the initial ruling. And so
does he catch it and make a football move, and then if he goes down, then that's a catch?
And you can't even challenge. Okay.
No, you can challenge that. Remember, if there's a fumble, if there is a recovery in the immediate aftermath, then you can challenge the play. But I think they're going to see if I think this may hold up as a catch. Does he catch the ball? Does he make a football move? Is that deemed a football move? The knee goes down, and then the ball comes out. Ahmad, I think
that looks like a catch to me. That looks like a catch. And the football move part, I'm always confused about because you're on the football field, and to me, anything that happens on the football field is a football move. Yeah. But that being said, I mean, it appears as though he has the ball, right? He makes a spin move, and you never see the ball jarred loose on his way down. Not until he contacted the ground did you even see the ball look like he didn't have possession of it. So that's a difficult call to make, and one that, listen, if that is the second drop where you should have had a first down, you go back and you're Texas Tech and you say, we stubbed our toe again. But if you do get this play, boy, does this offense have some momentum, and they could go right back in for another scoring drive.
Here's where this gets a little tricky. The call on the field was an incomplete pass. And from what you see, is there indisputable evidence to overturn that call? Because if this was called a catch, I think it stands. But because it was called incomplete, now you need that indisputable evidence. So from what you're seeing right there, you're looking for, does he make the catch? Does he make a football move, become a ball carrier? And then if he goes down and the ball comes out afterwards, it's not an incomplete pass.
I mean, guys, in my opinion, he makes a move to protect the football. That's a football move.
I agree. I think it should be a catch.
The receiver was an upright receiver when he caught the ball. He went to the ground, had possession, and then the ball came loose. It is a completed pass. It'll be first down, Texas Tech.
And that's a good call.
I think so. Let's take one more look at that. Yeah, I think the officials got this one right for sure. And now all of the momentum once again swings right back to the Red Raiders sideline. What will they do with that? And to Duffy's credit, he threw 2 balls in that drive that were excellent throws in the right location, helping this offense continue to move along.
Texas Tech mounting a little bit of a comeback. 35-17. Red Raiders are on the move as the fourth quarter begins. Dana Holgorsen told us this week his team has not faced adversity yet. He was curious to see how they would respond to a moment of adversity. Well, here they are on the road. Texas Tech with all the momentum right now. Down by 18, the way these two teams play, you're still going to see plenty of possessions. You'll have a chance if you're the Red Raiders. But this is that adverse moment for West Virginia. How do they react? We're about to find out.
Well, they've got an experienced team, and that's one thing that bodes well for you in adverse situations, because these guys have probably been through that at some point in their career.
Duffy over the middle, through the hands of Bowman. Jet Duffy, the backup quarterback today, came in late in the first half for an injured Alan Bowman, the true freshman who had set the world on fire the last few weeks, out for the game after taking a hit to the upper body.
And Tech has really struggled on this down, 3 of 11 up until this point. And if they're going to win and stay in it, they've got to convert on downs like this. Here comes the blitz for sure. They're bringing the corner off the edge. Washington appears to be coming as well. Unless they check it off. They've just checked it off. Looks like they'll sit back. Maybe Tech saw it.
Duffy will throw. He's got Wesley. And Wesley is taken down immediately by Giovanni Stewart. No gain. And it brings up 4th down. The offense remains out on the field. That's the call. And Texas Tech has to get to the 28 of West Virginia.
Yeah, that was nice work by West Virginia defense. They mistimed the blitz. Duffy saw it. He went into an audible. And then West Virginia said, we'll do the same thing.
Now here's the blitz. Duffy running for his life. Somehow stays in bounds. Jet Duffy inside the 10-yard line. How did he do that?
Sports Center, are you watching? That is a top 10 play with an injured player down on the field, Ezekiel Rose. But boy, that doesn't take the excitement away from this fan base and fans watching at home. Look at Duffy here. Oh my goodness. I mean, you just thought, yeah, he was in a phone booth on the sideline and got out of it somehow. But the courage and once again the running ability that Roddy and I talked about. This is the difference for him. They brought a 6-man pressure, excellent spin, great awareness. Wow.
I mean, there were angles that he found I'm not sure Euclid knew existed. As Ezekiel Rose, the talented D-end, is being attended to back near midfield. And yeah, boy, if the Red Raiders are able to complete this comeback, yeah, we're going to look at that play. 4th down. And when he went down to the sideline, it just didn't look like he had any room. I didn't think he was getting out of there.
Anish, he didn't have any room. There was a phone booth there. He ran into it. He made everyone miss in the phone booth and then ran out of the phone booth.
Yeah, he went into the phone booth as Clark Kent emerged with a cape and a giant S on the middle of his chest.
Awesome. Making a case for himself to stay in the ball game.
Rose able to get up.
And you know what? You wonder, like, how was he so open in the open field? They sent a 6-man pressure, which erased your second line of defense.
We'll step aside. 1st and goal. Texas Tech in business. After an incredible 4th down conversion by Jet Duffy in at quarterback for the injured Alan Bowman. Duffy will run again. And this time, no real estate on the sideline as he's driven out by David Long. Second down, and it goes without saying, Texas Tech needs a touchdown here. I know a field goal makes it a 2-score game, but boy, you've got all the momentum right now. And the Red Raiders have had that since the first quarter, really.
And part of that momentum is booting him to his right. They're on the left hash. Perfect time to do it now if you want to throw the football.
DeLeon Ward in the backfield. He gets the call right up the middle. 3rd and goal from the 9.
Yeah, I know Cliff Kingsbury is good at what he does. I didn't necessarily like they to the right side of the field.
Well, I like what he did last time when they were down here, where he had 2 running backs and went a little option. Let's see what he dials up here on 3rd down. I would imagine they've got to find Wesley down here, that big body.
And this is where you really miss the 6'6" TJ Vasher. Pressure. Duffy. End zone. Broken up. Intended for Wesley. Keith Washington has had a really nice game this afternoon.
Well, his timing has been great. And if you're going to defend a big Wesley, right, you've got to make sure. Watch his timing here. Excellent job with his left hand on the backside, right? That's how you make sure that you secure the tackle. You go with that right hand, and defensive back coaches all over the country are saying that's textbook. He shot that right hand. He didn't bat it down. Fine play there from Washington.
Big field goal for Hatfield to make it a 2-score game. 27-yarder up. And good. A 12-play drive by Texas Tech. 3 more for the Red Raiders. They keep chipping away.
ESPN College Football is presented by the unexpected energy of ExxonMobil. Energy lives here.
Texas Tech fans get to watch Pat Mahomes on Monday Night Football this week. Mahomes probably the MVP of the league right now. He and the Chiefs taking on the Broncos, and you've got 2 quarterbacks who are Cliff Kingsbury proteges, Mahomes and Case Keenum, who Kingsbury coached at Houston. Cliff Kingsbury lit up when we asked him about the Monday Night Football intermeetings yesterday. He is really pumped. He said, I don't really care who wins. I want a high-octane offensive game with a lot of points.
You've got to be proud if you're a coach to see 2 of the young men that you had your hands on, at this level. In Case Keenum, you want to talk about grit? I mean, how many lives does that guy have? Every adverse situation, he's just found a way to find himself on top and to be a proven NFL quarterback.
This was Cliff Kingsbury yesterday talking about the Monday Night Football matchup.
It's going to be fun. Going to be stressful to watch. Going to be cheering for a high-scoring affair, but both tremendous people, incredible college careers, incredible people that have worked really hard to get where they're at. Pat, outstanding talent, kind of a freak thrower, incredible athlete. In Case, very cerebral, smart, gets the ball out quick, but both very effective and great players, and I'm very proud of both of them.
And you saw the framed jerseys in Cliff Kingsbury's office as McCoy sneaks ahead to the 30 on 1st down. I got to tell you, I picked up on a couple of things in Cliff Kingsbury's office. The first thing that strikes you when you walk in, he's got a painting of Tupac.
I love it. There goes that swag I was talking about. That was awesome.
McCoy gobbled up after a short game, 3rd down. So much chatter, too, in the offseason last year, after the Ole Miss game this year, about Kingsbury's future with Texas Tech. I thought it interesting. He has the Kipling poem, If, taped behind his desk. And there's a line in there. To trust yourself when all others doubt you. On 3rd down, Greer finds Jennings. There's a flag down. A 1st down if the play stands.
Gary Jennings, flag on the ball.
Holding, offense number 73, 10-yard penalty, replay third down.
Those are the first 4 lines from the famous Kipling poem, and there's a line later on, too. If you can meet with triumph and disaster and to treat those two imposters just the same.
Well, he'll celebrate triumphantly tonight if his defense can come up with a stop on this third down. They have played with great courage, really from the second quarter on.
Huge play. Here's the pressure, and Greer is sacked. Dakota Allen gets him. Chris Cotter, what do you have?
I got a 4th and 6 for Clemson, trying to convert at midfield, down 3 to Syracuse. And Chase Bryce finds T. Higgins, so the drive is alive. They've got it at the 5-yard line, now down 3 with 1:20 left on ABC.
Wow. Meanwhile, the Red Raiders, they were dead and out of this game. Down 35-10 at halftime. Starting quarterback out for the game. I don't know why you field that punt. You risk disaster. 46-yard punt, and
not a wise play at all.
But Texas Tech, fortunate, they have the ball just inside their own 40. Still plenty of time left. It's a 2-score game. And right now, the pendulum with the Red Raiders.
Great field position. And David Gibbs there showed the blitz, ended up bringing Dakota Allen. And there was some miscommunication right in the middle of that offensive line for West Virginia. Jones, Brown, and Sills. You watch this, they don't block him. I mean, he's a free hitter. How do you let the best defensive player for the Red Raiders get a clean hit on your quarterback? Will Greer couldn't do anything. And now Texas Tech, with all the momentum on their side, looking to go down once again for the 3rd consecutive drive and score.
Corner blitz. Duffy completes to Wesley. Turns upfield. And Wesley just shy of the first down, a gain of 9. Roddy, what's it like for the defense when you prepare for a pocket passer and now you have to deal with Duffy's mobility?
Oh, it completely changes, and it's changed the way that they've called this game. We haven't seen as much pressure because of the threat of Duffy getting outside the pocket and hitting you for a big play.
Momentum still with Texas Tech as Henry moves the chains. First down from the 45. Duffy hands it off to Henry. And he is brought down. David Long and Stewart, a loss of 2. Duffy keeps it. He'll run. Lowers that shoulder, and he's to the 39 of Texas Tech. Chris Cotter with an update from Death Valley.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence may have got knocked out of this game with an injury, but Clemson still has Travis Etienne. This is his 3rd touchdown of the day. He has over 200 yards on the ground. Clemson up 4, under a minute to play on ABC.
All right, still time left for Syracuse. Tigers looking to avert the big upset at home. Big 3rd down for Texas Tech.
And that scramble was great for this offense. Really allowed him now to get into 3rd and short situations, which this is still open for a run if you'd like to. The quick passing game is certainly on the table.
And with the play clock running down, a timeout by Texas Tech.
Texas Tech calls their first time out of the half.
They still have
It'll
2 left.
Media break.
3rd and 3, likely 4-down territory for the Red Raiders. A big third down for Texas Tech. 8:08 to go in regulation. Red Raiders trailed 35-10 at halftime. 3 of 13 on third down today. Jet Duffy in for the injured Alan Bowman at quarterback. High snap. Pressure up the middle. Downfield for Wesley. And Wesley hauls it in off the tip. Concentration by the junior from Las Vegas.
That was incredible. It goes off the back of Washington, and Wesley still hauls in the catch.
Going quickly. Duffy! Touchdown! Texas Tech!
Duffy, watch the suddenness on this cut. I mean, he turns upfield quick, fast, and in a hurry, and finds himself in the end zone. Duffy right now is playing like Superman.
PAT is good. 17 unanswered by Texas Tech. We've got a one-score game in Lubbock. Last year when West Virginia played at Texas Tech, the Mountaineers came back from 18 down. Texas Tech has scored 17 unanswered. They trailed by 25 entering the third quarter. And now a one-possession game.
Where is Will Greer? After having 278 yards and 3 touchdowns, second half numbers, 4 of 9 for 59 yards. Where is the Heisman candidate?
Mountaineers will take it out at the 25-yard line, and for Texas Tech, 2 big plays will stand out if they win this game. First, a 4th down improv by backup quarterback Jet Duffy. Hardest working plays brought to you by Duluth Trading Company. This was on 4th down. Somehow, he turns this into a huge gain. It set up a 1st and goal. Texas Tech would end up with a field goal. And then on 3rd down, watch Antoine Wesley, the concentration to haul that in.
With one hand.
Will Greer, buying time, chucks it downfield. Sims can't bring it in. 2nd down. Here's Chris Cotter.
Gentlemen, Clemson survives. They come back to take the lead in the final minute of the game. Look at the sack by Xavier Thomas. 27-23 is the final. Just a reminder, Cam Akers, Florida State, and Louisville. They're coming up next, but this game will start over on ESPN. As soon as you guys wrap things up down there in Lubbock, we'll move over here to ESPN 2.
Catch is made by Dominique Maiden. His helmet comes off, so by rule, he has to come out for one play. It's 3rd down now. We told you how good the Mountaineers were on 3rd down, 63% entering the game. 6 of 12 today, but 0 for their last 3.
And last week, in a very similar situation, the Red Raiders defense held Oklahoma State scoreless in the second half. They're doing it against the Mountaineers right now.
A timeout by Dana Holgorsen. West Virginia has 1 left. A lot of fans emptied out. They're missing out on what could be potentially one of the biggest wins in the Cliff Kingsbury era here. Down 25 against a top 15 West Virginia team right after you beat Oklahoma State And what makes this comeback more remarkable, if we said before the game Alan Bowman wasn't going to play in the second half, you were down 25 in the second half. Sharpie, where do you sign? Instead, Jet Duffy has been the miracle man.
Yeah, I mean, he's outplayed Will Greer, period. And at this point now, if your defense can get a stop here, and there's still plenty of time in this ball game.
On third down, and West Virginia moves the chains. Kennedy McCoy, a gain of 3, and a big sigh of relief on that Mountaineers sideline.
That's power of football. That's exactly what that was. They came downhill, and they put the pressure on Tech's defense. And now with a fresh set of downs, I'm pretty sure they'll go back to Will Greer to see what this young man can do.
Guys, it's been a while since we've seen a shot to Marcus Sims. Looks like Texas Tech is shading a safety that way, but it's press coverage to that side.
Greer sacked Eli Howard.
Look at the San Angelo, Texas product. Just come right up the middle. And he charged at Will Greer. Nowhere else he could go. And Texas Tech's defense stepping up again in the second half in back-to-back games.
On the draw, nothing doing. Broderick Washington, and right now, this Red Raider defense is playing with a lot of confidence.
And Denise, you mentioned the fact that a lot of fans left this stadium, but it is still loud down here, making it hard for West Virginia to communicate on the offensive line and firing up this Texas Tech defense.
The question is, what will Gibbs do, the defensive coordinator for Tech? Do you bring pressure or drop numbers? Always the question in third and long situations.
Delay a game on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Go third down.
Yeah, that's the crowd, and Roddy talked about it. And this bunch they are out of their seats now. They are yelling, they are screaming, and why not? After the way that they've performed this defense in particularly, and that is the 11th penalty for West Virginia. It has been a sloppy matchup on both sides of the ball, but right now the Red Raiders with all the momentum.
Greer downfield, off the hands of Simmons, caught by Sills. He's going to be a couple of yards shy of the first down. It'll bring up 4th and 2. Greer walking up to the line of scrimmage and looking to the sideline, and Dana Holgerson right now.
I think you punt here. I really think you punt here.
I'm usually aggressive, but I agree. Punt the football. All the momentum's on Texas Tech side. Make them earn it going the length of the field.
How about that defense? The ball goes off the face mask of the wide receiver into the hands of Sills. And now Texas Tech with an opportunity to win this game that looks like it was so far out of reach. After 28 points in the first quarter for the Mountaineers, they have pretty much shut them down since then.
Bowman makes the fair catch after a 33-yard punt by Kinney. It looked impossible at the start of the third quarter. Down 25, starting quarterback out, but Texas Tech, with a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, can tie this game. The last offensive play by West Virginia. Boy, you talk about a game of inches. TJ Simmons, if he catches that ball clean, that might be a first down. Instead, it goes backwards a few yards. Sills catches it. You've got a punt. Antoine Wesley, a fortuitous catch on the sideline. Jet Duffy, a big 4th down conversion. Can the Red Raiders tie this ball game? Duffy will keep it. Upended by David Long right at the line of scrimmage.
That's an excellent tackle from Long Jr. He's the leader on this defense, and you really need him now, especially with the running ability of Duffy, him being that weak side linebacker. When he's trying to get out of that back door, you've got to make those one-on-one plays.
Duffy. Good defense that time by West Virginia. Hakeem Bailey closed off the edge. Third down. Texas Tech lost its opener to Ole Miss. After that game, Cliff Kingsbury started growing out the beard. 3-0 since he's put the Gillette away. Well, I wouldn't say he's put it away completely. He does keep it clean. And there's an injured West Virginia player now at the 20, Jabril Robinson. Now, this was advertised as an offensive shootout. Wasn't quite back and forth. It was West Virginia early. It's been Texas Tech in the second half.
Yeah, I thought this defense has come out. They've been aggressive. They didn't lose confidence in the game plan. And you saw them. I mean, look, West Virginia has a ton of athletes on that side of the ball. You've got to stay composed. You've got to know, like, we've just got to do our job, you know. And so I think they've come out here and done that. And I think as you look at what David Gibbs was able to do, I think he's mixed it up the right way, too. They were able to get home several times to Will Grier. A nice balance of the rush versus putting numbers back to cloud up passing windows. And Texas Tech with an opportunity to pull off a huge upset.
The last time Texas Tech beat consecutive ranked opponents, 2012. They knocked off West Virginia and then TCU. The last time they beat top 15 teams in back-to-back weeks, got to go back to 2008. I know you remember the first one, a win against #1 Texas. That was the Michael Crabtree catch. And then they knocked off #8 Oklahoma State. ESPN uses the Football Power Index to predict the outcome of games, how teams will do. FPI loves Texas Tech. FPI favored Texas Tech in this game, 61%. And the only game the rest of the way where FPI doesn't like Texas Tech is against Oklahoma. I'll tell you what, Ahmad, I've been impressed by the Red Raiders' resolve.
Yes,
all that's
absolutely
happened. Defense was much maligned in the first half.
Yes.
They've stepped up. Jet Duffy has answered the bell after Alan Bowman went down. On third down now. Duffy completes for a first down. Daquan Bowman. Chris Cotter, what do you got?
You guys still have a lot of football to get there, but I want to remind people that starting right now over on ESPN, Florida State and Louisville. So you can check out the beginning of that game. I don't know why you want to leave our game. As soon as our game finishes, though, we'll move that game over here to ESPN, too.
All right, thank you, Chris. Both of those teams looking for their first ACC win. West Virginia and Texas Tech looking to stay unbeaten in the Big 12. Both 1-0 in league play. 2nd and 5 after a run by DeLeon Ward. Play action. Duffy with time. Intercepted! Keith Washington is going to run it all the way back!
The air just left the stadium. And Washington has played admirably on the edge today. He's had the challenge of taking on Wesley. This was a poorly thrown ball. It was underthrown. If he gets it up over his head, it would have been a first down. And I thought he went through his progressions well. He just didn't cut it loose.
Ahmad, I think he changed his mind in the middle of that throw. I think he turned to throw to Antoine Wesley and saw Keith Washington under it and then tried to change his mind, and the ball came out, went right to Washington, and 6 points later, Texas Tech's down a couple scores.
And you're right, you can sense the deflation here at Jones AT&T Stadium. One more look.
Yeah, this ball's just poorly thrown. Didn't even see Washington in underneath coverage.
But you see the deceleration of his arm. That's not the throwing motion that we've seen throughout this game. I really think it surprised him that Washington was there. He tried to stop it, but it was too far gone. Ended up being just a terrible, terrible throw.
This is a big moment for West Virginia. As we told you earlier, Dana Holgorsen told us, we're going to face adversity in this game. When it was 35-10, there was none. Then Texas Tech came back. And he said, I want to find out about my team, how they respond to adversity. That was a response.
And, you know, and I said it earlier on SportsCenter today, which one of these teams had the better shot of sustaining this early season success? Defense. And that was my comment. But West Virginia's defense, they have not played great here in the second half, but they made the play when they needed to. And not only did they make it, they said, you know what, our offense isn't scoring, we'll do it. The best defensive units in the country find a way to do that. 14 points off of turnovers. Listen, you know, if you're West Virginia and you're sitting at home and you're a Mountaineer fan, you're going, what happened to our offense? I would like to tell you, listen, look at what your defense was able to do in a clutch and critical situation.
Bowman has the 20. Accelerating upfield across the 40, stiff arm, and into West Virginia territory. One more time, Chris Cotter.
Again, just reminding folks, coming up next here on ESPN2, Florida State and Louisville, they are underway. And that game is over on ESPN right now. As soon as you guys wrap things up, we'll bring it over here to ESPN2.
All right, thank you, Chris. Tonight on ABC, Ohio State, Penn State, Beaver Stadium will be a whiteout. And can the Nittany Lions upend the Buckeyes like they did a couple of years ago? 7:30 Eastern on ABC. Good field position for Texas Tech. 2:49 to go. Red Raiders have 2 timeouts. Down 2 scores. Duffy to the air. Gets past Long. He had to have taken dance classes, boy. He's got nimble feet.
Yes, he does. He's shown it a few times today. And because of that reason, I think if you're Cliff Kingsbury, you try to find a way to get this guy into the football game at some point, despite Cliff's desire to play 2 quarterbacks.
Duffy out of bounds near the 30. He's got a first down. Cliff Kingsbury told us, I'm not playing 2 quarterbacks. Yeah. McLean Carter, who started the opener, got hurt against Ole Miss, is still injured. Alan Bowman had thrown for 1,000 yards the last 2 weeks, threw for 605, a Big 12 freshman record against Houston. He got hurt today, but up until today, he had done nothing to relinquish the job, and Jet Duffy has been masterful except for that 1 interception in the second half. Wesley powers across the 25, a gain of 8.
And Duffy's athleticism has really slowed down the charge, right, of this West Virginia defense. You know, you look at those defensive linemen, they are worn out at this point in the ballgame.
3rd down after the run by Ward. And a timeout.
Texas Tech, their second and a half.
Red Raiders still have 1 left. Week 3 NFL Sunday with ESPN begins at 10 a.m. Eastern with NFL Countdown. Sam and the guys have you covered on all the injury news. They'll have breaking stories. They'll preview each game, all leading up to kickoff. You can also check it out on the app. I know in these parts, Monday Night Football is going to be a big watch. Pat Mahomes, MVP of the league, 13 touchdown passes through the first 3 weeks. And then Case Keenum, former Kingsbury protege at Houston. Dana Holgorsen was at Houston as well. And, you know, both these coaches will have rooting interests on Monday. For Kingsbury, not so much with the outcome, but more so watching 2 guys that he coached. What kind of team is Texas Tech going to be the rest of the way in the Big 12?
I'm seeing some fight, and that's very encouraging. look, this is still a team that has some young pieces, and they're trying to figure out what to do with them. And then I think the big question mark is what are they going to do at quarterback now that Bowman's injured? It looks like Carter will be back soon, and Duffy has showed out in his minutes of play.
Ward, he's returned from his injury, was out with a groin. First action today since Ole Miss. He picks up a first down. Meanwhile, I think this helps West Virginia, too. Come into a Big 12 environment on the road, as Duffy will run and slides down at the 11-yard line. Now West Virginia gets Kansas at home next week, a game they should win handily. Duffy steps up, end zone, incomplete. Intended for Carter.
Yes.
We've seen one overturned today. Was it a catch? Let's take another look.
Of an incomplete pass is under further review.
I think that's a good call. I think the ball hit the ground. You didn't have control of it.
Definitely did not have possession.
And the ball is allowed to hit the ground. You just cannot use the ground to secure the ball. The ball has to be secure before it hits the ground. But back to the point, Ahmad, for West Virginia, to go through this adversity, they haven't had to have any of that the first 3 games. You know, they were telling us they really wished they could have played NC State, but that game was canceled because of Hurricane Florence. They thought that would have been a big test, especially with an NFL quarterback in Ryan Finley, and they missed out on that.
I think you're right. And then you start to look at some of the elite teams still remain on their schedule. Obviously, Oklahoma, TCU, Texas. You may come down to a close game like this.
Yep.
So you need to know that even having a veteran team, you want players on your team that understand how to win in those moments, but also that have the confidence. And despite their offense just completely being non-existent almost in the second half, really from the first quarter on, you still know that you still got a great quarterback. You've got a core of wide receivers that can make plays. You know you can score points. But I think it was promising to see this defense come out here and do what was necessary to be able to get to this point where they could pull this game off.
Now, you mentioned that West Virginia's schedule. I looked at this game and I thought if West Virginia would get a road win in Lubbock against a much improved Texas Tech team,
After review,
everything sets up for them to be undefeated going into November.
Possession of the ball and hit the ground. It's an incomplete pass. The ruling is confirmed.
Yeah, so just as we thought, incomplete pass. You've got Kansas at Iowa State, a bye week, and Baylor. Iowa State could be tricky to go to Ames, as we saw with Oklahoma last year. But those are games that you should win. Now that sets up the November gauntlet at Texas, TCU at home, at Oklahoma State, home against Oklahoma. But you've got a chance to be undefeated going into November with a lot to play for.
Yeah.
Duffy dropped the ball. There's a flag.
Ball start, offense number 26. 5-yard penalty, still third down.
Henry, the freshman running back. If you're just joining us, West Virginia led 35-10 at halftime. Texas Tech closed it to within 35-27 with the ball. And then Jet Duffy threw a pick 6. Keith Washington returned it for a touchdown. And Duffy is in the game because Texas Tech really is down 2 quarterbacks. McLean Carter, their week 1 starter, got hurt against Ole Miss, and Alan Bowman, who had been playing so well since then, went down in this game in the first half and is out for the game. Duffy will run. Duffy lunging toward the end zone and marked down right at the 1-yard line. Red Raiders trying to go quickly here. Henry into the end zone for a touchdown. Still 38 seconds to go. And we saw Texas Tech practice quite a few onside kicks during walkthrough yesterday.
And this is for moments like this. And let me compliment the rushing attack of Texas Tech in the second half. And Roddy, I know you've been down on the field, and And they've been able to manufacture yards on the ground, and that's what's really been able to give them that boost that they needed to be able to go downfield and make plays in the passing game.
Well, with 5 running backs, you're able to cycle them through until you find one with a hot hand, and that was DeLeon Ward that got everything going. But Jet Duffy has added another element. It takes one of the defenders out of run support because they have to always account for the quarterback going out the back door. And now it's going to be up to Texas Tech getting an onside kick.
Yeah, that was a big PAT by Hatfield, so Texas Tech needs to recover the onside kick, and then they need a touchdown and a 2-point conversion to send this game into overtime.
Here's your GMS Auto Group drive summary.
The beard, Cliff Kingsbury 3-0 with that beard. Red Raiders have had a couple of miracle plays today. A 4th down conversion on a Jet Duffy run where he danced around the defense, escaped the sideline. That led to a field goal. Antoine Wesley on a big 3rd down on a tip ball made the catch inside the 10-yard line to set up a touchdown.
And Roddy, we went back and forth on those keys all week long, and listen to this. Texas Tech in the red zone 5 times today, but only 3 touchdowns off of those. And you know, you look at those points now, and how significant are they in the ball game? And you said it. They have to be able to win those one-on-one matchups. And here's the problem. You've got to score. If you're Texas Tech, when you get inside there, you've got to punch it in.
Ahmad, you nailed it. In the red zone, each time they had to kick a field goal, -4 points. What are you down by? 8 points. 2 times you missed it. That's what cost you.
Big kick here. Out of bounds. West Virginia will have the ball. And the Mountaineers just have to take a couple of knees, and they will escape Lubbock with a victory.
Escape. That's the right word. Because this second half was dicey.
Illegal kick out of bounds on the kicking team. Also offside on the kicking team. That 5-yard penalty will be added to the out of bounds spot. 1st down, West Virginia.
Can't even imagine how he feels after that emotional roller coaster after your team played so poorly, particularly on the offensive side. And he's the play caller. You know, he's the offensive guru. And then you come back and how inspired you were by your defensive effort. What a roller coaster that he's been on today.
You start to look back at this game. Texas Tech will not use a timeout, so West Virginia leaves Lubbock with an 8-point win. Dana Holgerson can breathe a deep sigh of relief. I don't think he needs a Red Bull. This game was Red Bull enough for Mountaineer Nation. And West Virginia hangs on. But this game, Ahmad, really was won in the first 8 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, man. Yeah, just because they came out on fire. And you saw everything that you thought you were going to see from Will Greer the entire game, but it didn't happen.
42-34, our final score coming up next. Florida State and Louisville, both looking for their first ACC win.